needed someone to step forward, Wasana was always there first. Every fight he took was a risk, but that's what makes him one of the best rushers in the world.
Oh, Wasana! Nolan notices him as LBT tries to take the trade on the map, but he turns around too late. The mini Uzi making all the difference for Wasana.
Pina out in the open. Wasana looks to finish him off at this point. Pina dropped as well.
Ooh!
Best rushes out there, the one and only Wasana.
We do have Wasana. Oh, the one shot onto Blade. Wasn't even given a chance to be able to be picked up. And now Wasana pushing through for the team as well.
Fearless and relentless, he created openings where none existed, winning duels no one else could.
Put it up, already have activated the champion rush condition. This has to be the moment. Put it up! Your three-time world champions!
2 attempts, 2 heartbreaks, but he refused to break. When everyone doubted him, he kept his smile, and today he burns brighter than ever. The MVP of the best team in Free Fire World Series 2025 Global Final. Since 2023, when Buriram United first came into the FFWS Global Finals with the roster of 2022's world champions, captained by 2-time world champion Jonah, taking new recruit Wasana, the all-star lineup crumbled, losing to Brazilian rivals, Magic Squad. Even though they finished second, many people still doubted them, especially Wasana. After a year, they returned to the FFWS with the same goal in mind. Unfortunately, their plans went sideways as Buriram finished third instead. This year, they returned with the same goal: prove the doubters wrong. But they started the tournament poorly.
ก็พวกผมก็ทำเต็มที่ครับความพยายามไม่เคยทำร้ายใครอยู่แล้วพวกผมพยายามมา2 ปีครับที่พยายามมามันไม่เคยเสียหายครับมันทำให้ทีมตัวเองได้เก่งยิ่งขึ้นครับแล้วที่วิจารณ์กันมาว่าฟอร์มดรอปก็ตอนนั้นก็ดรอปจริงๆครับแต่ตอนนี้ก็พยายามแก้ไขในสิ่งที่พลาดในตอนนั้นจนถึงมาสำเร็จทุกวันนี้ครับ
รู้สึกว่าอยากได้มากครับเพราะว่าโดนพี่เกียรติล้อจีนอนชอบล้อผมไม่มีแชมป์โลกที่ได้ MVP ไม่มีแชมป์โลกเขาชอบล้อกันนะคนจีนชอบล้อผมนะแต่ผมเกียรติคนเดียวนะจีนอนคนเดียวเลยชอบล้อไปถล่มเขาย้ำๆนะคนดูเพราะว่าชอบพูดมาแบบตอนว่าเฮ้ยใครไม่ได้แชมป์โลกวะไม่คุยกับคนไม่ได้แชมป์โลกวะ
Reset, adapt, burn bright.
Powerhouse Act champions, Buriram United Esports.
ก่อนจะเข้ามาแข่งรอบเกมแคนนอนก็คิดไว้ครับว่าพวกผมมาเอาแชมป์ให้วัฒนาเพราะว่าน้องยังไม่เคยได้แชมป์โลกแล้วทุกคนทำเพื่อวัฒนาแล้วก็มั่นใจกันมากครับผม
This year, they finally did it.
Put it up! Your three-time world champions!
Jorena's dedication for Buriram finally paid off, as he made history as the first ever 3-time FFWS Global Finals champion, as the captain led his young teammate Wasana to his first ever world championship.
ก็รู้สึกดีใจที่ได้เห็นน้องถูกถ้วยแล้วแต่ว่าเราก็ดีในลึกๆเราก็ดีใจเหมือนกันเพราะเราก็ตามหาถ้วยนี้มานานมาก
ก็มาแทนตอนนั้นเหมือนมาแทนพี่ไอ้นะครับแล้วเขาก็เมนกันว่ามาแทนเดี๋ยวคูดจะไหวหรออะไรก็ผมทำไม่เห็นแล้วนะครับ
Once the youngest in EXP, now the backbone of AG, he's walked this path before. In 2023, he seized the tournament MVP, carving his name in fire against giants like Butchin, Q, and Bops.
รู้สึกดีใจอยู่ครับแต่ว่าเสียใจที่ว่าไม่ได้แชมป์ด้วยครับ
AG's due as their leader, their carry, their heartbeat. Within 2 years of relentless improvements, he came back stronger. He lead his squad to crush doubt and dominate the Clash squad.
Oh, dude! You can do it, son! This is it! A swap MC7! Drags them across the finish line with an ace on Mach 3!
From being the 2023 MVP, he has walked the talk, and now he proves the doubters wrong all over again, earning the first ever MVP and carving his name into history as a champion of the first FFWS Clash Squad World Finals. We are here in Jakarta for the Free Fire World Series Global Finals 2025. The biggest Free Fire event in Free Fire Esports of the year. The knockout stage began, and 6 days decided everything. The best teams crushed doubts, while 6 teams were crushed by pressure and eliminated early instead.
Triple kill. Double kill.
Fans from every corner of Indonesia traveled to witness an epic finale to the team's journey in Jakarta's Indonesia Arena, the nation's largest esports venue. 100,000s of fans, lights, music, fire, energy, all building up toward the biggest show Free Fire has ever put on.
Double kill.
What an epic end to the FFWS Global Finals 2025. Congratulations to our world champions, Boomerang United Esports. A Guinness World Record-breaking esports event attended by over 600,000 participants.
Welcome to
All access.
This is the Pros Masterclass. Nero, a deep dive into his strengths, abilities, and why he's shaping the way pros play right now. Next, let's break down some high-level pro plays from FFWS 2025. RQ Kazoo took the launch pad and a free target for P-Sports as they soared through the sky. RQ Abe got knocked the moment he landed. From far, Nero's skill to stop RRQ Kazu from instant blue walling and get a resurrection on RRQ Abe. Nero's skill also disables Joseph ability. allowing detection skills like Moko's to become more effective. KAGENDRA had to spend more time breaking Nero's plushie before they could safely resurrect. The damage from Nero's plushie continues to tick down their HP. Esports uses this window to close in on Kazu. With Kazu's HP not full, Esports comes in for the cleanup. Meta shifts, tactical zoning, and anti-glue control, Nero brings a whole new layer of strategy to every fight. At this moment, Esports uses Nero's skill first to break through the enemy's defense, powered by Joseph, then activates a 124 skill to disable the opponent's active abilities. However, Joseph can counter a 124's effect and protect himself from it. That's a wrap on our Nero breakdown. The plushie, the pressure, and the plays that define this meta. Is Nero your must pick, or just overhyped?
"12 teams reset back to 0 points in the champion rush. The grand finals bring pressure like nothing else, with unpredictable results, split-second decisions, pressure, and stage fright. This is where confidence decides everything.
ทุกชั่วโมงทุกอย่างที่เราซ้อมกันมาถึงวันนี้ทุกอย่างที่เราเสียสละการเปลี่ยนแปลงที่เราปรับและชูเรามาถึงจุดนี้ได้เนาะ
Só ganha essa quem dá o buia, mano. Então não vamos deixar ninguém ganhar e ninguém tirar esse buia de nós.
Hari ini terakhir. Ya, waktunya keluarin semua, main all out dari game 1. Ya, main all out dari game 1 tanpa beban, tanpa pressure, enjoy se-enjoy-enjoynya.
Sedikit waktu maksimalin. Percaya sama teman itu yang paling penting. แล้วก็ไม่มีอะไรแล้วอยากจะไปข้างบนมาเวลา3 ที
Vale a pena na vida de vocês, mano. A gente não sabe que a gente terá outras oportunidades igual essa. Fechou? Então vamos pra cima. Alguém quiser falar, o momento é de vocês.
Dut bilang sama gua match 4 kita sampai di champion rush match kelima kita tutup. Walaupun emang harus gagal di match kelima, match 6 kita tutup. So menurut gua gak ada yang gak mungkin. Walaupun emang harus gagal sekali, masih ada next match. Paling dari aku itu aja, selalu diingat, saling percaya, itu kuncinya guys. Oke? Sebelum kita mulai, mari kita berdoa guys.
Não deixe sem atenção, mas vai do mal, amém. Bora ao máximo em geral. 0! 0! 1, 2, 3! 1, 2, 3, segue o fluxo! Vai, vai, vai! E vai!
Mati. Gak apa-apa. Ya. Sampai banget, Cok.
2 booyahs from the on-fire Fluxo silenced the Indonesian crowd, leaving behind a big gap with R7, RRQ, and EVOS. They are now in desperate need of a recovery.
Santai guys.
RRQ and EVOS finally recovering. However, Buriram is miles ahead of everyone else. The first to activate the champion rush.
Kamu nggak lewat sini? Kita lewat depannya, ayo. Gua skill. Len. Satu. Sabar.
A desperate play from RRQ stops Buriram.
Masuk parkir.
Giving Fluxo the chance to activate the champion rush with the booyah. Champion rush activated. Now 2 teams begin their race for the final booyah.
ไอ้เหี้ยกูได้ถือแล้วไอ้เหี้ย
It's the end of FFWS Global Finals 2025. We witnessed doubts being crushed and history being made from the eyes of the MVP himself, Wasana. Buriram United Esports are crowned as Best Team of the Year.
Who am I gonna verse now? Burn bright, I don't burn out. Crush stats, look at me now, huh?
I can never go reverse now.
But I'ma spin it back, A-jump. Wait from nada to the crowd, throw in their hands, base jump. I'ma hit the finish line no matter what. They front, first place, you a runner-up, dominant, but the red and the blues going ruthless. 10 out of 10, 11, I don't snooze. I pursue, don't push it, put me in game that I don't lose. I stay cool, depending on my pen and pennants I choose. Ayy, I'ma show you how it got it, now the loudest. Wu-Tang, I'm a bird, love the competition. Told you only way is up, I don't go reverse. I can't entertain. Will you do the same? Cause I've been ready my whole life. Only see my back, I ain't turning back on them. Wings on me, I'm higher. Cause I've been ready my whole life. Wings on me, I'm higher. Who am I gonna verse now? Who am I gonna verse now? Show me what it's worth now. I pull up in the can't imagine. All these people wanna follow, missing in action. Paper planes, I'm a condos, made it from rapping. And I met role models. Thinking I'ma pass all the monogram on my body, the shit, shout out to Virgil. Know that I'm gonna beat them like the shit that I put words to. Mama and the internet, two things that I just learned through. Hit it out of the park, so there's nothing to reverse to. I can't entertain. Will you do the same? Cause I've been ready my whole life. Only see my back, I ain't turning back on them. Wings on me, I'm higher. Cause I've been ready my whole life. Wings on me, I'm higher. Now I can go reverse now.
Let's go. Wild and free, got an animal in me. Once you see, you ain't never wanna leave. You think your eyes are fooling you. It's just the way my body moves. I bring the sugar and spice. I got naughty and nice. Get the cinnamon once, promise you want it twice. So come get a taste like dang. Got looks that kill, bang bang. I'm razor sharp, really so hard. Light it up, fireworks in the dark. Watch out, I'ma get ya. Don't leave, I won't let ya. I'm razor sharp, really so hard. I light it up, fireworks in the dark. I'm a non-stop thrill, I can lose that kill. I'm a little bit bittersweet, but you can pour some sugar on me. I'ma knock you off of your feet. Non-stop thrill,
player overrated ya Wasana lah.
Wasana ครับ
Wasana.
Wasana.
É o Asana. Atualmente vai sobrar pro Asana.
He is the only one who has never won any international tournament in his team. His hunger was higher compared to others. Towering in front of him, the same enemy, the two-time world champion. The same challenge for him to overcome again. Whenever Buriram needed someone to step forward, Wasana was always there first. Every fight he took was a risk. But that's what makes him one of the best rushers in the world.
Oh, Wasana! Nolan notices him as LBT tries to take the trade on the back, but he turns around too late. The mini Uzi making all the difference for Wasana.
Pina out in the open. Wasana looks to finish him off at this point. Pina dropped as well. Ooh! Best rushes out there, the one and only Wasana.
We do have Wasana. Oh, the one shot onto Blade. Wasn't even given a chance to be able to be picked up. And now Wasana pushing through for the team as well.
Fearless and relentless, he created openings where none existed, winning duels no one else could.
Buriram already have activated the champion rush condition. This has to be the moment. Buriram, your three-time world champions.
2 attempts, 2 heartbreaks, but he refused to break. When everyone doubted him, he kept his smile, and today he burns brighter than ever. The MVP of the best team in Free Fire World Series 2025 Global Final. Since 2023, when Buriram United first came into the FFWS Global Finals, with the roster of 2022's world champions, captained by 2-time world champion Jonah, taking new recruit Wasana, the all-star lineup crumbled, losing to Brazilian rivals, Magic Squad. Even though they finished second, many people still doubted them. Especially
มันทำให้ทีมตัวเองได้เก่งยิ่งขึ้นครับแล้วที่วิจารณ์กันมาว่าฟอร์มดรอปก็ตอนนั้นก็ดรอปจริงๆครับแต่ตอนนี้ก็พยายามแก้ไขในสิ่งที่พลาดในตอนนั้นจนถึงมาสำเร็จทุกวันนี้ครับ
โดนพี่เกียรล้อกีนอนชอบล้อผมไม่มีแชมป์โลกที่แต่ MVP ไม่มีแชมป์โลกชอบล้อกันนะคนจริงชอบล้อผมนะแต่ผมเกลียดคนเดียวนะกีนอนคนเดียวเลยชอบล้อไปถล่มเขาย้ำๆนะคนดูแต่ว่าชอบพูดว่าแบบว่าเฮ้ยใครไม่ได้แชมป์โลกวะไม่คุยกับคนไม่ได้แชมป์โลกวะ
Reset, adapt, burn bright.
Powerhouse stack with champions. Buriram United Esports.
Ram finally paid off as he made history as the first ever 3-time FFWS Global Finals champion, as the captain led his young teammate Wasana to his first ever world championship.
ก็รู้สึกดีใจครับที่ได้เห็นน้องถือถ้วยแล้วแต่ว่าเราก็ดีในเรื่องเราก็ดีใจเหมือนกันเพราะเราก็ตามหาถ้วยนี้มานานมาก
ก็มาแทนตอนนั้นเนี่ยเหมือนมาแทนพี่ไอ้นะครับแล้วเขาก็เมนกันว่ามาแทนเดี๋ยวคูดจะไหวหรออะไรก็ผมจำไม่เห็นแล้วนะครับ
Once the youngest in EXP, now the backbone of AG. He's walked this path before. In 2023, he seized the tournament MVP, carving his name in fire against giants like Butchin.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, survivors of all ages, welcome to the Fire MAX Asia Invitational 2025. This is day one of the main BR event. 10 teams qualified last week from the play-ins, and they are joined by 8 Titans who were invited directly to the main event grouping. And to start off this brand new week, we present to you guys a brand new duo, the Mustachioed Brothers. Welcome to the era of Lucifer and AJ. Lucifer, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling super excited, AJ, to be honest. This is what we are looking forward to, right? When we started things off with the first week of action, we saw the 18 teams fighting it out, but we knew there was another set of grueling fighting champions waiting to start things off, and it starts today, and I can't wait for the action to unveil.
Yeah, I am nervous for the action that's about to unveil because we were not kidding when we used the word Titans, right? We have got the creme de la creme of each and every single one of these countries, these regions, smashed into this main week. The action last week was bloody hot. This week is going to be on a whole other level. Let's take a quick look at the tournament timeline once again for a visual breakdown of what we're talking about. Last week, 5th, 6th, and 7th of December was just the BR play-ins. 18 teams went in. Only 10 survived. That 10, we threw them into the BR main event, which starts today, and we invite 8 Titan squads to join the grouping as well. We'll introduce you guys to them in a little bit. That runs for 3 days, and of course, you have to be in the top 12 by the 13th of December, because the grand finals is on the 14th, and only the top 12 will be welcome there, Lucifer.
Now, with the grand finals this week in itself, that's a lot to take for these 18 teams that are going to be playing and split into 3 different groups. I wonder who those 12 teams would be, but along with them, there's at least a little bit of an advantage for the teams who make it to the top 16. They will be making it to the next weekend of the CS mode as well. So that's a little bit of a benefit if you ask me, AJ, if you don't make it to the top 12, but still, it is this week only of Battle Royale. And when we are looking towards it, let's see what they're fighting for. It is the big, wholesome prize pool of $35,000, and the champions walking away with a major share that is $10,000.
I mean, no doubt at all, this is super attractive. In total, we've got $50,000 on the table for the FFMAX Asia Invitational. 35K is here for BR. 15K will be given out as the prize pool for Clash Squad. You technically need to get into the top 16 to be able to enjoy a slice of both pies. And I think I love that, right? As long as you're not the 2 bottom dwellers, you are going to walk away with a minimum 1,000 USD cash for your squad, which I think is huge for some of these squads who are just setting themselves up. Not even a full-fledged esports organization yet. Some of these boys, they want an opportunity career, and I think it is a fancy way to move forward. But how do they pick up the points? That's all about it, man.
Let's talk about that. It is going to be the placement points. As soon as they grab the booyah, they'll get 12 total in summary. Along with that, following that suit, everybody is familiar with it. It goes to the 2nd spot at 9, follows that to 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2. And here at the 10th spot, it is a single point, and the 11th and the 12th team get nothing. However, there is also one more thing that you have to look forward to, is the tiebreaker, AJ, where yes, first it'll be counted on the number of booyahs that you have, because we are again fighting for qualification for the BR finals. So you better have a better booyah or more number of eliminations from the team who is behind you, or at least ranking that's better in the final game.
Yeah, no doubt at all. You don't want to be in a tiebreaker situation. You want to be busting through the competition, ripping away those points, dominating at the very top of the leaderboard, just so that we don't have to crack our heads, do this math. I've never liked math anyway, so let's not get there. By the looks of things, right, we probably are going to be looking at the tiebreaker to decide who gets which size of the slice of the pie, right? Because when you look at the top of the leaderboard at the moment, it doesn't look close at all. Some of these teams are really running away. We'll look at who they are in a little bit. Obviously, the team from Vietnam, GOW, made a lot of noise in the previous stage at play-ins. But of course, one of those things that has been bringing a new flavor to the world of Free Fire esports is this condition, the one unique active skill condition, Lucifer.
Yeah, I think this has been very crucial. We've seen how every individual player is trying to figure out what works best for them, and on top of it, what is the best for their team as a whole. And that sets this game apart, and that's where, hey, I think for me, if I pick up an Oscar, is going to be better. For the other, is going to be a Tatsuya, maybe even Casey, Koda. We've seen a lot of these mix, and the newest addition as Nero that everybody is picking up with that plushie, which is making a lot of noise and making teams crack their head.
Yeah, when I play solos, man, it's always narrow. You gotta love chucking the plushie at everyone, because if you're not marking them, you're stopping them from pulling up those glue walls. If you're not stopping them from pulling up those glue walls, you're also taking away a little bit of their health, putting a little bit of pressure on their shoulders as well. But you want to know who put the pressure on the shoulders of everybody else on day 3 of our BR planes? It was India collectively, right? A total of 5 booyahs going the way of the Indian squads. How crazy is that?
I mean, we were all wondering of how the Indian teams would be performing in these Southeast Asian lobbies, right? I think it took time for day 1 and day 2 because not all the teams had played. And when we moved towards day 3, AJ, all the teams, all the players individually had the essence to know how they need to go forward. And I think on top of it, you need to take one person's name that you can see, godlike Yogi. Yes, the team has only 1 booyah. They should have had a lot more on day 2. They tried their best. But this man, being the IGL, has the highest amount of damage that we've also seen in the day of first weeks in action.
Yeah, I mean, this Yogi doesn't just meditate, he annihilates, right? And you gotta love it about the IGL of the squad. Godlike Esports has been showing up strong, but not as strong as I would like to see them in the competition so far. I'm looking forward to them really unleashing their true capabilities in the main week here. But they cannot slack off, because just like the BR play-ins, they only have 2 days of play, because we've got 3 groups in total and only 3 of the main event days before we make it into the grand finals. And these are the squads. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are well acquainted with the 10 already. Let us now introduce you to the 8 teams that have been invited directly in here to the main week. Here to totally annihilate the souls of their opponents from India, you've got Total Gaming Esports as well as Seoul Elite, Bangladesh's Pride, Red Hawks, the Rail Soldiers of Nepal, DRS Gaming, the Soaring Predators of Southeast Asia, Team Falcons, the Falcon Hunters, BIGETRON by Vitality, the one that inspired the whole of Vietnam, PE Esports, and of course those looking to make Malaysia very proud, MAQNA Esports themselves. I'm looking forward to seeing what these 8 are going to do to the competition. Will they annihilate, or will they be stepped up by someone else out there who's really looking to perform today, Lucifer?
I really like how you put that. Will there be somebody else who'll take up that step? We'll take a look at it when it unfolds, because everybody has to understand that not all these 18 teams are going to be playing together. It is going to be split into 3 different groups, A, B, and C, and we'll take a look at which teams are going to be playing today right in front of you. The team list, GOW, is going to be there, and we know when they stepped into the lobby in day 2 of our play-ins, they annihilated everybody, destroyed everything. They had a total of 170 points in just 6 games. And following that same Southeast Asian fury, we have KAGENDRA, and then we see the Indian squads of Nightmare, Revenant, XSPARK, IQOO Total Gaming, and then we follow Bangladesh at Red Hawks, NINZA back in play, BIGETRON by Vitality, DRS Gaming, MAQNA Esports Club, PE Sports, and the last team but not the least at all, SATUL Elite. And you see powerhouses everywhere from the start to the end, AJ.
This is insane, because I know you're looking at some powerhouses right here in front of you, but this also means we're going to be keeping the teams like Godlike Esports, NG Pros, IQOO Reckoning from India to play tomorrow, because they are in Group A. And also in Group A is the Nepalese Gods, GB Esports, and the 2 Thai squads, Avida XKDC as well as Team Falcons. Holy mama. Group A is going to be insane when they make the day of play. But for today, let's see what best groups B and C can bring to the table. And obviously, ones that we cannot ignore, GOW Esports just absolutely wrecking the competition on their first day of play, and then dropping the ball big time when India woke up.
Yeah, big time. I think day 3 was, where we kind of even thought maybe GOW is holding back because they know they have chances that they're already into the main event. And by that state also, AJ, we've seen Demon from their squad has the highest in terms of damage overall. He's the top one in the entirety coming in from the play-in. So Demon is going to be a player to be watched out from this squad. On the other end, when we look at KAGENDRA, I think that is going to be one person that we'll try to look forward to. Nightmare as a whole squad, you cannot pick one player from them. We've seen Hitman, Amin, Gopu, Farhan picking things up and making it work in their favor. Same goes for REVENANT, XSPARK. As a squad, they try to play it out.
Absolutely. And of course, still in Group B, we've got IQOO Total Gaming Esports, Red Hawks Meta NINZA, as well as BIGETRON by Vitality. We all know BIGETRON by Vitality and what they can do out there on the battlefield. At one point, used to be known as the Falcon Hunters. Now, they are just dominators out there. One of the kings from Indonesia. Red Hawks, on the other hand, the supreme squad out of Bangladesh, a huge fan base behind them, but they have not had an opportunity to prove themselves as best as they like. Perhaps this can be the stage for them to do that.
With them, we have Meta NINZA, the team on the day one who raised the Indian flag for the whole of the nation and showed that there is the fight with the Southeast Asian lobbies as well, and we are ready for it. And now charging into that is going to be a Free Fire Max India Cup winners, both in BR and CS, IQOO Total Gaming, and following them, we have another set of gents who will be fighting.
Absolutely. The Rail Soldiers Gaming from Nepal in the house. I cannot wait to see exactly what they've got to unleash on the competition. Looking forward to seeing Takuri as well as Ace go out there and just dance their perfect dance together as a squad. MAQNA Esports, on the other hand, you know, they're not the they're not the only dominators out of Malaysia, but for now they're the only consistent team out of Malaysia, looking to make a name here for themselves. But these players, although the squad, the club is new, the players are anything but, right? They've got a lot of history behind them, and they're going to bring that all to the table today.
But then we have PE Sports, a team which is renowned to be Vietnam's very own. They have gotten titles after titles, and when it comes to Vietnam, they are a team that you have to fear. And following them is going to be SATUL Elite, a team which stepped into these international lobbies, the Southeast Asian lobbies, and proved to everyone. Looking forward to a lot more challenges, and now they're here in the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational to prove it once again, to make it to the BR finals.
Oh, I mean, the name Pahadi is just stuck in my head. I cannot wait to see him in action a little bit later on. Game schedule for the day: Kalahari, Solara, Bermuda. You'll have Lucifer and AJ rocking the mic. For Nextera, Purgatory, Alpine, Neptune, and Crips will hop onto the desk and carry you guys all through the end of the day. These are the 6 games available today. Who's going to dominate? Are we going to have unique individual Booyah holders out there? Or is one team going to come out of the gates bursting, dominating from the very start to the end? I don't know, but whatever is the flavor of the day, I'm here. I'm all in for it, Lucifer.
Same here. All hands in, because we are going to be seeing a new set of actions unfold. All these teams, yes, majority of them being 10, we've seen them in the play-ins. We have an idea about them. But walking in blind as a bat is going to be us looking at what these 8 set of new teams are going to be doing, especially with so much right behind the back, right? We've said built so much for them. We've given them that stage at this point, and now it's time for them to start performing, get those booyahs, and rule it. Whether that's going to be the case, or the teams who have already gotten momentum, AJ, are they the ones?
Yeah, man. I mean, teams like GOW Esports, they definitely built up a solid momentum here for themselves at the play-ins with 4 booyahs. But we also have the territorial kings out here. We've got IQOO Total Gaming Esports, the champions of the test FFMAI 2025, going up against Red Hawks from Bangladesh, the champions of FFWS Bangladesh 2025. This is going to be a clash that is not going to be forgotten very easily. I'm looking forward to this one for sure.
Yes, when it comes to being champions, right, when you have these 2 great minds, as well as when you have 2 big giants from their nations fighting and clashing off against each other, it will become a matter of pride, and everybody will start trying to fight in this lobby to prove who's better. And we've seen this happen. We've seen this unfold. When GOW wanted to prove a fact that they are here to win on day one itself, they did that. And I think the way they did that, everybody else feared what Southeast Asian players and teams can do. But when we look into it, where do these players drop? The preferred drop spots in front of a screen, and you can see where Red Hawks and IQOO Total Gaming do drop by. And Total Gaming, they make their mark towards Mace, and they're close by to KAGENDRA, and on the other end, Red Hawks have gone all the way towards the sub.
Absolutely. So based on the play-ins, we know most of these teams are not going to be following the script here based on their preferred drop spots. And I really love that, right? Because, you know, just like some of these teams out there, we are all going in here blind. The audience, they're going in here blind as well. I can't wait for some action. But one thing that I definitely do look forward to is some hot drops out there. And I hope and pray these are some forced hot drops by some hot-headed squads who just want to prove that they are the dominators of the day. Of course, how that battle goes, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think one big advantage here for teams who could pick it up while they're the newer ones, or they're going to be playing the first game here in Fire MAX Asia Invitational. For me, AJ, is go get that drop fight. Let that start right in the first game. Whether it's going to be a rivalry till the very end, or it's going to be just something that you're figuring out of how these players fight, go take it. I think this is the best chances, because when we come towards the later part of the day, the second half, you don't have a lot of games to go by. And as we saw in play-ins, where teams such as IQOO, OG, TSG, we had Headhunters who were very close, and Headhunters had already ended their day on day 2, and IQOO, OG, TSG were on the race to qualification. Missed out. Could happen if we go towards the last few games.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, obviously, you know, we had to part ways with some of the squads who just couldn't make it. But the parting with IQOO, OG, TSG was a little bit more painful because they were not too far away, right? They were literally on that 11th spot, just 21 points away. One good game could have made the difference for them. But, you know, many teams down at the bottom would be making that exact same argument in their own head. So we're not going to take it up too hard on them. Obviously, we hope and pray this is not going to be the only competition where they'll be invited or given the opportunity to show up and show up strong. There are many more in the future. I swear as hell bet there are. And I want to see them much bigger, much stronger in those tournaments. But of course, we have got the game getting geared up in the background, Lucifer. I'm looking forward to the action, but we also have one part of the conversation where we eventually have to get into the teams that we probably think are going to be performing in here on day 1.
Now, when we kind of figure things out, now we have the 12 teams, we just check their drop spots as well. But what's going to happen? Who do we think is going to start performing? While we still have that rattling in our minds of what we saw in the Southeast Asian lobby during day 1 and day 2, we are also in that impression of what happened on day 3. Has that prepared the Indian teams to figure out what is best? While also we have individual representatives from Bangladesh and Nepal who are going to be trying to fight their way into the finals. A lot at stake, because I think at least playing somewhere, AJ, felt where you were trying your best, figuring things out in these lobbies, but now it's become a matter of qualifying to the finals, getting that major share of the champion, and ruling the Asia Invitational.
And thank goodness that day 3 was the day where India really ramped it up, right? Because you could see the fact that they were warm and then they turned hot. Fingers crossed, just like you said, they carry all of that might into day 1 today. But of course, let's take a look at the predictions that Lucifer and I have thrown out onto the board here already. I think PE Sports as well as Total Gaming Esports will be able to pull something big, and a special appearance from Red Hawks as well, Lucifer.
While you've gone for that, I've gone for, again, one common pick from both our end is IQOO, Total Gaming, and I think they should be, because it is going to Kalahari, the starting game, a comfortable place for them to play out on. But again, we have a different set of teams who are going to be playing, but in terms of the teams, and as you mentioned, right, the Falcon Hunters, they're going to be here. BIGETRON by Vitality, they're a team to look forward to. It should be their games. We saw Diggs, Sibang, what they could do. Could be something unfold, and on top of it, I've brought one name from the plains, making sure I know they could do the same thing that they did in the plains. That's GOW.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know if or not GOW is going to be able to show off as much here in this main week like they did in the play-ins. I think they didn't have enough big boys to pick on at the play-ins, and they went around pushing everybody on day 1. And when India woke up, GOW was like, okay, brother, I was just playing. So, I expect more of that here today in this week, because, dude, as we kick things off, India has warmed up the plate, and the next players to step up to this warmed up plate is Total Gaming Esports as well as Seoul Elite. Dude, I'm expecting them to rip the competition apart, to show India is not here to mess around with them. But then again, you do have Red Hawks as well out there, right? The fan base has been begging them to wake up in many competitions so far. They've woken up in their own local circuit. Can they do it here again as well? I hope they can, man.
I agree. I think Red Hawks have a fan base that are trying to push and look forward to them. dominating on other stages, get those global titles in their favor, and they've been trying to go for it, and this should be the start for it, where they push forward. But along with them, as you said, right, there are a lot of big boys here. It's not just them. They have to look forward to how they play. So even PE Sports coming in from Vietnam, they will be looking forward to trying to take this first victory in their favor. As we said, start strong and you will have a day that will just go to flow for you. But it's time. Kalahari, the first game to unfold. We are going to be jumping into it. This is the start of the Battle Royale main event for Fire MAX Asia Invitational. Let's jump in. Kalahari in your screens.
Hey boy, Kalahari time. Game 1 of the main week of action. The team that pulls away Booyah, number 1, obviously is going to be able to steal all of our hearts away. But the main showdown, it's going to be that hot drop. And it looks like REVENANT XSPARK is looking for a spark off of the Malaysians here at Stone Ridge.
It's going to be trouble. REVENANT XSPARK, MAQNA Esports Club, and another end on the sub, Meta NINZA as well, Red Hawks. Even at Refinery, we end up seeing PE Sports as well as DRS, and Nightmare close by to KAGENDRA. MAQNA, one player already knocked, but it seems like elimination leader. There it is, the opening found, but instant revenge as well.
Yeah, Red Hawks have got a little bit of trouble here as well. Meta NINZA from India dropping right down there beside them. MAQNA Esports up against REVENANT XSPARK. Ace finding PE Sports is narrow, so DRS doing great. Nepal, I look forward to seeing a little bit of their action from their side, but Sahil taken out of the equation already here on the side of REVENANT X. But there is a vending machine in the area. Getting that revival isn't going to be too difficult at all. First task is getting close enough to that side. MAQNA Esports, Ramiel on that revival. About to be shot out of the air. Thank goodness Katie God does not have a sniper on him. Ramiel will survive the drop. Oh my! All right.
No. They still get him, but however, again trades happening. MAQNA, they take upon this aggression towards Wolven, and Katie got quickly making a run. He's already used his Skylar, and look at him being quick on the P90, rippling those bullets apart, and MAQNA in big trouble. Comes down to the last player, and REVENANT XSPARK, they send them packing, and the first team to be eliminated here, AJ.
Yeah, I mean, it's the wrong place to bump into REVENANT XSPARK. You get into Stone Ridge and you rub against them, there's gonna be some sparks, and REVENANT knows how to light it up. Great plays for eliminations. They start the game off hot. But on the opposite side of things, yet another heated battle. 3 eliminations already picked up here by IQOO Gaming, and 2 of them from Dalit as they circle around Stone Ridge looking for a couple of more opportunities, but obviously GOW not too close. But it's an engagement I think that the Vietnamese squad will not be backing away from.
The other end, SHUL Elite, they pick the players from REVENANT XSPARK who try to make a getaway, try to survive, but thankfully they still have numbers. They will get their players back. It's not a full-on team wipe, but on the other end, SHUL Elite, at least early start for them. A lot in their fan base as well as this day starts off, right, AJ? A lot of fans looking forward to what SHUL Elite do today. And if they are one of the Booyahs, it is going to send waves throughout the Fire MAX circuit for everybody.
Nightmare. Can they get Hitman into this fight? And backstab. He needs to get into position instantaneously. Should not give away his position. He's got the cord in hand. I'm in way too late into this battle. Gopu OP down on the ground. Kiba goes in for the finisher. In the meantime, the rest of the players still fighting a way in. Souls out of the equation as Total Gaming bumps into them. One Titan up against the other. And unfortunately, the Indian team taken out prematurely.
Big surprise happening here. I was just talking about them, but it could happen even for KAGENDRA. Seemed like Nightmare are trying to answer Farhan. Does he have enough weaponry to answer back? No. The number of forces from KAGENDRA, they all pounce upon him. And now KAGENDRA have their chance at the Mammoth. Will be able to secure these 3 eliminations that they were able to grab. And I think it was Amin who did manage to make a getaway because he was the last one who was coming closer to this battle on the vehicle. And therefore KAGENDRA did not find him. At least these 3 will keep them moving.
9 more teams left in here. This is a super fast hurry. Just starting off on the kind of note you do not want to be a part of. And obviously MAQNA Esports saw the end to their run way too early. Red Hawks as well. A crushing blow to the only Bangladeshi squad that is in the main week. They were invited directly. The rest of their friends from Bangladesh. 5 squads could not make it through from the plains. Fingers crossed we get to see a little bit more of them in the future competitions.
I think that puts us and sets us in even during the start of you mentioned, right? While this is just the start of the Plains and Free Fire Max Asia Invitational, we would want to see a lot more of those teams in action. And yes, for sure, because some of the games were spectacular coming in, but right now spectacular full-on team vibe coming in from IQOO Total Gaming on SATL Elite, and now they're eyeing on GOW, a team who just started tearing things down for everybody on their day 2 action. But looks like Shoto, he's ready here to take down Death, and he is right in his face with a Max 7.
Yeah, Shoto took a Shoto with the Mag 7 and got an extra elimination for the squad. But the question is, can he protect Ayush? Runs in there for the pickup, but RIP says RIP to his buddy before Shoto could get in. Mag 7 still in his hands, going up against the shorty. RIP, great blue wall, keeping Shoto out. And Demon is in here for the backup as well. Great Valiant dash. Demon does not connect with Shoto and is pushed back. RIP finally jumping into the battle, but Shoto single-handedly drops him. Death and RIP dropping back to go in for the pickup. And they turn around. The game of numbers working up against them, but my oh my, what a shot by Shoto.
He tried everything to find value, and that too just with a Mag 7 to keep it going for such a long time, AJ.
Yeah.
Unbelievable stuff. He had a Kenta also pulled out. That tells you
yeah.
that he's like, I am going to take this fight. And this is what I was looking forward to be honest, right? We spoke about this. Players, teams should start taking up these maybe unintended, but they needed fights, right? They've decided they want to calculate. They want to see how this competition is in this lobby, and now they will have an idea how they would want to deal with them. But with this, even GOW seems like they did not start off of how we predicted their day 2 start was. And I think you might be right, AJ, here. When these big boys come into the play, GOW Esports, we have a lot to expect from their end now.
Yeah, I mean, keep your expectations low, brother. I've been disappointed a couple of times already. But, you know, we always got to love GOW. These boys are hustlers. Shoto again, hopping on in with the Scar. Dropping Kiba, Jojo. Instantaneous response there. Dropping Shoto. Dead. Ayush will pick him right back up, bringing him back through the revival. And now this is IQOO TSG in a little bit of a trouble as they get hunted down by KAGENDRA. From that high ground, Mafia needs to make sure he does not pop his head up.
While they did take individual fights with GW, did get 1 elimination. It's not going to be the same when it comes down to KAGENDRA. Ayush, he's caught. Same thing that happened to Shoto.
Double kill.
And there's not much for him to get out for.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good play overall. He's just gonna buy a lot more time. And just like that, Shoto brings Ayush right back in. So smart play coming through here from the Indian squad. Just leaving one guy to play that distraction whilst the others quickly scurry away and look for that recovery. And on that revival, that's exactly what the squad does, who's currently on the #1 spot as well. So good on the squad of IQOO TSG. TG in this game. It looks like Mafia is just not letting Ayush get any one of those eliminations, man. He needs to start sharing.
Mafia is one of the mans who ends up getting MVPs for them, but let's wait and watch if that's going to continue. But for now, it seems like GOW have a fresh target in front of them. It's going to be DRS, and what a shot coming in from Death. This is what I was worried about, and now he's sending out a plushie. He's going to make them in trouble, and there it is. There is knocked down by his skill. This is what I was worried, and Dian and Rip to follow it.
Oh my goodness, GOW falling one after the other. Death all alone here, has got 300 coins in his pocket. That means he's in a lot of trouble. Can he bring his buddies right back in? Goes in for the jump into Shipyard, looking for that vending machine far away, and it looks like he will be able to get there. The Rail Soldiers, on the other hand, bumping into a couple of Rail Fighters in the form of Esports, and they flatten them.
What a start coming in from Esports. As soon as they spot a team, they say that is going to be ours. And on our screens, they have a total of 10 eliminations. And this is when they have a hit list on them while they're protecting the teammate. It seems like they're not protecting, rather they're the ones chasing to anybody who wanted to put up a hit list on them. And Esports are going to start from here on. Also look forward to their booyah. And this is what you also had your prediction for, AJ. And it seems like they are getting towards it.
Oh yeah, I mean, but don't get the booyah because that wasn't my prediction. I'm sorry, bro. So let's see if or not. Well, RHK has already gone out, so you got to give me at least one, right? So 10
You
eliminations.
had PE Sports.
Yeah, fair enough. They're not too far away. So we need to get them in the right positions, you see, for me to smile. So
True. Then yes.
yeah, hopefully Vietnam steps it up, right? Because GOW is currently not getting the job done. So PE Esports still here to pick up the pieces. And in fact, they're picking up a lot of pieces. It's piece number 10 in terms of eliminations. GOW on that revival spree, as even Nightmare hits a quick revive for themselves as well. A lot of teams playing recovery here as the pace of the game slows down.
While PE Sports are sitting at a total of 11 eliminations, following that suit is going to be Total Gaming at 10. But as you said, it seems like now teams are playing the survival mode, figuring what's happening around the lobby, around these lands of Kalahari. But it seems like as Total Gaming were trying to take the zip line, Nightmare tried to take a couple of shots, and thankfully Total Gaming did not instantly answer back, but it seems like somebody else has the eyesight. That's going to be BIGETRON by Vitality now.
Oh, well, GOW. It looks like their run is just looking a tad bit sticky at this point in time. They got to wash their shoes before they take another step. Yet another player goes down. KAGENDRA up against Meta NINZA on the other hand. The NINZAs haven't found the current meta to overtake this raging Indonesian squad. Getra behind his glue wall. Winchester. Grenade launcher misses the mark, and the buddy survives for a little bit longer, but a two-player rush. And Shank still on his feet, finally dropped by Jojo. Great plays on his feet here by Shanky, but KAGENDRA just overwhelming them with the mechanical plays.
KAGENDRA, they're also trying to reach the total where the other teams are pushing for. But however, they have to be worried about the zone. But they know there is one more player around trying to fight for survival. And that last man standing is going to be Ginotra. I don't know how he will be able to pull off a survival while every player from KAGENDRA are still close by. But I think if there is no UAV or binoculars pulled out, he should be safe for now. And it seems like that's the case. As the zone's closing, KAGENDRA also decide to get back to the play.
Okay, my face is smiling a little bit more. PE Sports has pulled ahead, so you gotta keep this up, guys. All right, 10 eliminations in the hands of Total Gaming. Hitman down. Shanky finding him with the Bison. Beautiful plays as Meta NINZA pushes in to find a spot in the next defensive zone, but right behind them, KAGENDRA dropping by to say hello as well. Shanky couldn't get away. Kiba drops by, gets the quick hit and run. The rest of the team members, though, should be able to pull him right back in.
KAGENDRA, they have REVENANT XSPARK right in front of them. They're trying to pull a booyah of their own here. And they've been picking up very good fights and it's working for them. But Ginotra on the other end, seems like while he was trying to make a safe haven for himself, he did even find an elimination on Nightmare. That is an added on bonus for Meta NINZA at this point, as still they are only 2-man in the squad. They still need to revive their players, get back into action. They're still somewhere around the edges of the play zone. But KAGENDRA, they decided rather to wait at the edge of the circle, while GOW on the other end are a little tad bit caught up with BIGETRON and Total Gaming on either end.
And Nightmare, their worst nightmares getting taken out before they get into top 3. And guess what? It hit them yet again. IQOO GTSG, though, looking still strong in terms of the rotation. About to catch a couple of players on the side of GOW off guard here. Right ahead of them will be BIGETRON by Vitality, which puts GOW in a terrible spot. PE Sports slowly rotating the way of the Indians. This is not looking good at all. REVENANT XSPARK finding one off of Meta NINZA. The story just becomes a little bit worse here for Meta NINZA. They can't get to that vending machine just yet. One final survivor left on the squad.
I don't know what they are going to do to try and let that survivor go even further, if there is even an opportunity for him. But it could become difficult. Meta NINZA, we've been talking about it. Somehow we spoke. Meta NINZA's Ginotra did find one, but that was Nightmare, and Nightmare are done for. While on the other end, here at Command Post, we have 4 squads ready to start the fight out, but they're not initiating it until the circle makes a move. Now that the circle's made a move, we start to go ahead, but before the end of this next fight happens, Meta NINZA's end is seen on the screen. The last player could not make it through, not get anywhere closer to the Command Post.
Hey, the chat's making fun of me for fumbling TG's name, man. What can I do, man? They've got such a long name, okay? IQOO Total Gaming Esports, all right? When I'm casting, when I'm casting, it is unfortunate, all right? 14 eliminations, P Esports looking for a couple more. And the very next ones in front of them might just be the team that I do not want them bumping into too early. Unfortunately, both want to look for this next safe zone. Both will have to be on the open grounds at the same time. GOW could just play that distraction though. Is KAGENDRA now spotted out? P Esports, great position they hold on to, but they are playing with fire here as they are not looking for the circle just yet. I understand why though. It's this open grounds gameplay, Lucifer.
But on the other end, BIGETRON opening their gameplay big time, but trying to break it apart is KAGENDRA. Diggs in trouble. They were trying to break the backbones of REVENANT, XSPARK, steal their thunder, but right now somehow they're still surviving. But now BIGETRON come back to the last survivor. That's Koja, and KAGENDRA have surrounded. Wait, there's still some banks as well.
Yeah, I mean, dude, TG just got eliminated. I'm a very upset point right now. REVENANT and XSPARK out in 5th as well. KAGENDRA putting a stop to their brothers. BIGETRON by Vitality and GOW out of the equation. The Vietnamese squad taking their Vietnamese brothers out. The Indonesian squad taking their Indonesian brothers out. And now that sets up the final battle between KAGENDRA and P Esports.
The one final battle, a 4v4 between both the ends, and it seems like KAGENDRA are the ones who are super aggressive, but now he's the one who picks off Jojo, and KAGENDRA seem like they're in trouble.
Well, we are all in trouble if they continue moving like that. Nero circles around looking for Raz, and he finds him! Beautiful glue ball! Raz stays alive, but two players knocking on his doors. Raz with a sliver of health, and he doesn't get to recover. A flying Lao Ho puts the final bullet on the coffin, and P Esports opens up the day with a solid booyah at Kalahari.
I told you, AJ, it was bound to happen. You wanted to bank on their long game, but the way they started, AJ, there was that hint, there was the essence. I could feel it. There was something of a sixth sense. What a game.
What a game indeed. I just didn't expect all of that chaos to take out Total Gaming Esports. I want to see a little bit more of them a little bit later on. But obviously, Southeast Asia just barely allowed us to see any of the South Asian teams here in the top 4, I have to say. The final 4 survivors from Indonesia and Vietnam. And the battle between P Esports was one that was won with perfect positioning on the side of P Esports, and obviously just ruthless aggression running at them, not giving them any room to breathe or recover here, Lucifer, and they played that down to the team.
And you could see abilities to perfection, jumping, making sure they know they fight. And as a team, it was not individual fights. They were communicating with each other. You could see them running up against each other while their teammate is also keeping an eye of what's happening. If they get a knock, good for them. If they don't, immediately their teammates from P Esports will be able to jump and get it. And what a way to start. We were expecting a team from the invited lot itself to grab the booyah, to start it off, start strong, and to prove why they were invited. And what a way for Vietnam and for P Esports to show everybody that they're here ready for even BR finals as they make their way.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, this is what we expected, and P Esports delivered with flying colors. You gotta love it out of these boys. But of course, the big question is, what were the numbers like off of this massive booyah that P Esports pulled away? 35 bomber on the very first game of the day. Can you imagine if this was in the grand finals, Lucifer?
This is why I said when we were talking, right? I think today it could be a record-breaking match, and as you said, if this happens towards the finals, it puts a lot of trouble for the other teams, because I know the other teams will now wonder if the champion rush is going to be unlocked from their end. However, following it in that trend, yes, a little far away from P Esports is going to be KAGENDRA at sitting of 23 points, IQOO Total Gaming Esports at 15, BIGETRON by Vitality 13. Even though they did have a lot of good fights starting, I think they did not continue that aggression till the very end. That's all right. NINZA, however, even though unfortunate situations, they still kept picking eliminations in their favor, and they raked it up to 7, having a total of 11, sharing with REVENANT XSPARK. However, I think REVENANT XSPARK became a sandwich right in between two teams, minced and gobbled up, and there was nothing else they could do.
Yeah, there wasn't even a spark left, we can say, right? GOW at the bottom, 7th spot this time. Couldn't really rage on in this lobby. Just 3 eliminations from their side. And those numbers just kind of dwindle down towards the bottom of the leaderboard. You see Red Hawks didn't pick up anything from this one particular lobby. So fingers crossed, we see them stepping it up in the next couple of games. Obviously, a lot of expectations on the shoulders of Red Hawks. But I guess they're just a bird, so you can't really put too much weight on it. So ease up on them, guys. Game MVP, 7 eliminations. The one and only Nero. Only sad thing here is he's not the Nero user.
Yeah, he's not. He's the Chrono user. And along with him, I like the way he has set up his passives, tanking the same damage out of the zone with the 4, having Tiva in case his teammates are looking forward to a quick revival, and then Joseph for everything in terms of the shenanigan with his weapon that he needs to do. And he's the Grenadier. Surprising that does not have the Alvaro. This is what we said. Once you figure out what is the best to play as an individual, and then you figure out what is the best for the team, and I think that's what Nero has picked up here. 7 total eliminations, a damage of 2,700, and on top of it here, AJ, 11 assists, which makes it a total of 18 that he was a part of.
I mean, insane stuff here for Nero. Obviously, those assists, big plays in terms of getting those massive numbers for the rest of his team members. And we saw how aggressive PE Esports was, especially with the Winchester, the rate of fire there, the tum-tum out of that gun, and the accuracy that Nero brings into these fights. It was just unbelievable. What was more impressive with Nero was the speed of backup that he delivers to the rest of his team members, right? Always pulling out that time turner, picking them up with that Tiva, instantaneous. You can't keep PE Esports down because Nero's alive.
Now with Nero, he has his teammates as well, Laho, LBT and Nolan, and you could see 2 of them with the dashes, which is generally known by rushers, but along with that they have a Skylar, especially for those long range duels. But along with that he has the Moko Maro and Raphael, making sure that when he takes a shot, nobody knows where it's coming in from. That is the smart play coming in from Laho. That is the reason we were seeing instant on the feed as well, that hey, there's a knock coming in, and instantly PE Esports jump upon it.
Yeah, and Nolan just walking in there with the tank build off of that Ford Joseph as well as Shani. Extra gear recycle as well, making sure he's got the rest of his team members in his mind. And every single time he goes out there for the best, obviously Tatsuya looking for the reset through those knocks. And Nolan did really well, right? And once again, if even Nero was that aggressive as the Grenadier of the squad, you can just imagine the pacing off of Nolan and LBT in that fight. Obviously, not all of the eliminations going just through one player. This was a team effort. 14 in total between Laho as well as Nero, which is absolutely insane. Laho had a fantastic game with that sniper build there. Nolan and LBT pulling away a total of 9 on their side. This makes up for one hell of a opener here on the main week by Southeast Asia, by Vietnam, courtesy of PE Sports.
Big opening game coming in from there, and a total of 23 eliminations. And you can see this is the best part I see when you want to call it a team effort. You can clearly see it in their damage, right? Everybody around that 2000 mark. That tells you, irrespective, that yes, we see the highest number of eliminations between Nero as well as Laho. There is Nolan, LBT, all of them contributed for that damage, and the knocks which were coming in, which is there on the assist for both of them, which contributed to the total amount of damage that those eliminations went for LBT and Nolan. And that tells you we are here on a serious path of the main event.
Yeah, look at the assist on LBT, man. We were flexing Nero's assist. LBT just took it up to a whole other level. A part of 19 engagements in total. 4 he walks away with eliminations. 15 he initially rushes in, doesn't worry about his own life. He knows he's got the backup in the rest of his team members, and just goes in there for the tags confidently. And you gotta love that. Let's take a look at the circle analysis here, because not many teams actually made it all the way past circle number 1 and 2, and that was a huge surprise, right? Red Hawks unfortunately faltered very early.
Very early. Even MAQNA as well, the battle that they ended up taking it with REVENANT XSPARK, and we ended up seeing of how KD got with the P90. Pew, pew, pew. He put everybody down, and while we even saw DRS get eliminated at the Circle 2 by PE Sports' contribution, the way they jumped up to the tower, till then onwards, while we did see a couple of Nightmare, Meta NINZA having trouble, while we ended up towards the Circle 4, I think Circle 5, we saw every team just holding things off, playing it a tad bit waiting game for survival. And once the circle moved from command post, you can see instantly 4 teams out, and during the circle 6 is where we saw one by one BIGETRON, KAGENDRA, and then finally Esports grabbing their booyah to be the last survivor in the team.
Yeah, and you can see India got quite far with the rest of Southeast Asia. This is really impressive. What's not so impressive is how they maneuver past circle number 5. Unfortunately, that was where a majority of their run ended, and the rest of the game was played out by Southeast Asia. GOW also faltering in circle number 5. So there's no fault on the side of these teams that faltered, right? Even the Indian squads found it a little bit hard to keep up with the pacing of BIGETRON as well as Esports. KAGENDRA as well, pulling away massive eliminations in this lobby, in this game. Even when they debuted in last week, right? We kind of saw the supreme capability of these players of KAGENDRA, but it also kind of seemed like they were not going all out just yet.
Yeah, I think you are right in saying they did not go all out right yet, because this was speculated when we saw their performance on day 1. We were like, this is going to continue, but after that, as you said, we were like, they are looking into a lot more. But now you could see clearly what they were planning for, they are pacing for, and I agree hands down to what you said. The pacing when we come towards the final circle, during the Southeast Asian teams being there, you could see they were waiting for the circle to make its move. And as soon as it did, they had their marks down. They knew which team in which direction is going to be there. And once they wanted to make their way into the circle, they dealt with those teams. And that is why a majority of the teams at Circle 5 were put to rest. And then towards the last, we had the last 3 standing. And this brings us to the next game that is going to be happening. That is Solara. While Kalahari comes to an end, Solara is going to be another new twists and turns and literally tracks in place for teams to figure out what is their best foot forward. And I'm surprised of what just happened in game 1, and I'm clueless what is going to happen on game 2.
It's good to be clueless, right? That's how we get to have the most amount of fun out here on these games as we cast them. I mean, yeah, some predictions thrown out there, but that's just for fun, guys. We have no idea how these teams are feeling out there, you know, whether or not they're nervous, whether they're confident, whether or not some of them got their hopes and dreams broken just in that first game. We'll find out as we progress with the day. And this preferred drop spots just taking a dig at us. I wish this was what we saw out there, man. Nightmare, Meta NINZA, as well as KAGENDRA at the hub. I am in for it. And then look at Windmill. We've got another triple drop there. This is the dream for me, Lucifer. I want chaos.
I think we both kind of have that same mentality. We do not want these teams just running around waiting for other teams to greet by. Get down, start it all out, figure into the end map to end very early on. We're okay with it, but it should be action at all points. And if it happens, as you said about the drop spot, it could be very interesting, and especially if it happens for SATL Elite and BIGETRON by Vitality, because Archway is where they're dropping by the preferred drop spot. But SATL Elite, we know they were the early eliminators as well. They got eliminated super early while we had a lot of expectations while they took a fight with REVENANT XSPARK. And however, REVENANT XSPARK made their way through to almost the Circle 4 and Circle 5. So I think SATL Elite, there's a lot banking on them. First game did not at all go in their favor. So hopefully this turns around.
I mean, whether or not that turns around, we'll have to wait and see. Another team that really needs to turn around their fate right now is MAQNA Esports Club. This Malaysian squad, granted, they bumped into quite a big one out there at the very initial drop itself, but they couldn't really get too far after that. So fingers crossed they stray away from danger. If nobody else messes with them in Funfair, if they actually go to Funfair, maybe we get to see a little bit more of Malaysia this time round. But the problem here is this preferred drop spots image that you're looking at here right now has fooled us one too many times already. And I think the teams just were obviously not going to tell everyone where they're going to drop. They would be asking for a lot of trouble. Obviously, there's a lot of rivalry out there as well that could just, unfortunately, invite a team you do not want to see early to your compound.
Yeah, looking at the preferred drop spots, Delta Hill is completely empty. No, come on. Right? This is where we say, like, this is a good advantage for teams to pick on other teams, telling you sold them a fake, and that works out. If it works out, good for you. While they think that should be a safe spot for them to drop, and you go surprise them, and it works in your favor. Now, yes, as we said, we are still figuring things out. This is the first time all these teams are playing. While there could be some information of what we saw in the play-ins, is not the same thing that could be replicated. Even if you had a pen and paper and you jotted everything down of the play-ins, you could just at this point just crunch it up, move it to the side, and move to the current main event that we are watching. With the main event that we have, let's take a look at our predictions that we think could be what happens here. I've gone for again BIGETRON by Vitality, and looking at your prediction, I've synced up for P Esports in KAGENDRA.
Yeah, man. I am thinking Total Gaming Esports is going to be able to get the job done this time round, right? They started off hot, they were very aggressive, and then whoopsie, they got eliminated a tad bit too early. I think this is going to be their redemption arc. KAGENDRA and P Esports, yeah, I'm expecting Southeast Asia to expect to stomp the competition once again. They're going to try, but this time India will prevail. That's exactly what I think is going to happen here at Solara, because this is that one map where you don't really see many teams dominating consistently just yet. So this is that map I'm hoping India's going to take and run away with.
Let's hope, and I think it could be an opportunity because I did see individual, right? Shoto's aggression that we ended up seeing as he was going right against GOW. That tells us that they are ready, but that Circle 5 situation that happened, and it was a flurry of multiple teams getting eliminated in that stretch, and that tells you, right, maybe they were trying to understand of how to finalize those final few teams who were surviving. If it works for the long run, good for them. But here as well, I'm pretty sure what happened to BIGETRON by Vitality, they were not happy of how that fight concluded. While they were dealing with GOW, while they were trying to fend them off, then ended up that P Esports were right behind them. There was not much to do. KAGENDRA jumping up, too many situations for BIGETRON by Vitality to handle. And this time, I think they're going to be a lot more smarter, ready for this action, because they want the booyah. They want to prove everybody, and for Indonesia as well. And I have gone for, that's why, looking at what KAGENDRA did, I'm looking that Vitality would go the same direction.
Yeah, I mean, both of us sound like ex-boyfriends who just don't want to let go, all right? The relationship's not working out. The predictions didn't work out earlier. But we are still harping on it. I still think Total Gaming is going to be able to do it. You still think these boys out of KAGENDRA is going to be able to pull this off. So, I mean, I get where you're coming from. I want to see a little bit of this as well. And both of us think P Esports and KAGENDRA are going to be coming through just a little bit swapped on the position, which I think is really fair, right? There's just no way of telling who gets the second spot, who gets the third spot. I just assume these are the top three teams who are really going to be doing something crazy in this lobby based on how they performed in the first game. But I am all up for surprises, Lucifer. That's exactly what we've got this Asia Invitational for. Number one, for some of these Indian teams to really shape up their gameplay. You know, we've thrown Bangladesh into the fray as well. We've thrown Nepal into the fray as well. And it looks like they are picking up some solid experience through this competition.
It is a big time. I think this is what everybody wanted to watch when we got this announcement of Fire MAX Asia Invitational. But with this, let's jump into the next matchup. Solara underway. Group B and C have already kicked things off. P Esports have already gotten the booyah. Is that what is going to follow suit here on Solara? Let's start now.
A back-to-back booyah? Both your casters don't think is possible. Let's see if or not P Esports will be able to prove us wrong as we hop on into this matchup. It looks like Bloomtown is going to be hosting Meta NINZA for the time being. TV Tower is not going to be housing many squads. That's really rare. So we don't get to see the drama early at TV Tower. But Waterfall, on the other hand, yeah, somebody's going to fall there.
Yeah, DRS could be in trouble. IQOO TG are ready for it. They spotted them, but a little afar is even Nightmare. We can see a UAV being used as well. I hope Delete, he wants to start things off. But on the other end, I spoke about Nightmare, that they were just around the corners, and it seems like Gopu extended a little too much there. And he gets eliminated. But wait, while he did get knocked, it was not a full-on elimination. Instant answer back from Nightmare, and if TG read this right, it could be an opportunity.
Absolutely. Can they take out the real soldiers of Nepal, Pratik? Almost straight down. Shoto once again. Brilliant play with a valiant dash. Rushes straight in, gets yet another. Mafia on the hunt. The final player, Ace. Can he ace out this full squad here with everything that he has? Shoto checking the right corners. Bison up top. This could just be the final engagement here for DRS.
Ayush and Shoto are the lost and the newest additions, but they didn't see the corner. His glue wall gave his position away, and Alo is in trouble. Ayush and Shoto both were ready, but somehow for the time being, he survived. And I don't think for now it's going to work out. They spotted him. The damage trying to be done. Jumping all across. Somehow Alu trying to dodge it. But for how long? Because that was 2 men in trouble who were ready to put him down. And with that, it is going to be DRS, the team who gets eliminated. But Total Gaming, their fight is not going to be put to an end right now.
Yeah, Alu fighting like Alu Arjun in some of these battle sequence. Unfortunate for him. I mean, he tried to avoid those punches as much as possible. But, you know, sometimes the hero, he needs to fall early. So, fingers crossed we get to see DRS back in here a little bit better later on. Total Gaming back and away. Ayush, no spray down for Nightmare. As Gopu and squad goes in for the chase.
PG, they went in 2 different directions, and I think that's a good decision coming in. And Ayush, he wanted to buy some time for his teammate to go and get the revival done. And if they did follow the suit or the same trial, Nightmare would have challenged them, would have followed them. Thankfully, that did not happen. But right now, while Nightmare were picking up these eliminations, a team who I thought will just wait for TG as well as DRS to start the fight off. It was them who started things off, even get the first elimination of the lobby. And you could see Shoto. He is just going to go run, look forward to vending machines, look forward to money, and finally get his teammates back up, because this was not the decision that he wanted his team to be dealt with.
Yeah, and this is not the result I want the team to be dealt with when I put them on my first place prediction, okay? Somebody needs to get a revive right now. All right, it is unacceptable. Thank goodness I don't get to cast the curse. Them Shoto doing more than he needs to out there, going in for the rush, getting the elimination numbers, and now having to bring his brothers back on those revivals. Nightmare on the other hand, Farhan, AC80 perfection as he drops one player from the side of BIGETRON by Vitality. Farhan though pressured, Koja, Trogon in hand circles, and the instant revenge by Koja.
Very smart, quick on the chrono, made sure that the issue that could have happened, played around the shots, and then went back again with a Drogon. Got that, but Diggs, it seems like he's not yet safe. Koja has to try and buy some time as his teammates have gone in the other directions, and BIGETRON by Vitality. While you had a TG on your board, I had in that first spot for BIGETRON, and it seems like these first picks that we make have a similar start. And look at where even BIGETRON are heading, towards where they are reviving their players. We can see delete on our HUD, and it could become trouble for Koja if he's trying to do the same thing. And there he goes, delete spots him. BIGETRON, Koja will be in difficulty if this is a 1v1. Thankfully he did revive his teammate, and now we'll try to run away with the tracks.
Bro, it's going perfectly for me. It's not going perfectly for you, okay? My team,
yeah,
now
that's
is
right.
Your team. And Shoto is already on the way. Delete's following him as well. Ayu's already way ahead of all of them. Koja about to be in trouble. Ayush has got the backup from the rest of his team members, and they are here right on time. Ayush still gets the drop after Delete appears out of nowhere. And it looks like IQOO Total Gaming Esports back on track. Third elimination, the full squad in action onto those loots as well. You gotta love it.
You gotta. They had a situation which looked
bro. You gotta hate
unfamiliar.
it.
Don't hurt me so much yet, please.
you
know
it.
Yeah.
Triple kill.
And it's not going to stop for GOW. They're in big trouble. M590, he's also put to his knees. That's another confirmation. And look at how Red Hawks right now, red in this lightning zone, are picking up eliminations one after another. Total of 7 in their name, and they are making sure their utility, their cavalry is going to be better. Picking up some things from the vending machine, but this is not the same thing. Now, it looks a little better for me, AJ, because BIGETRON have started answering back. Diggs has found a knock, but thankfully, or unthankfully, in a betterment for Nightmare, they will be able to revive, not give away the elimination, because BIGETRON are not together yet.
Nightmare is your nightmare, my dream, okay? Come on, Nightmare, get the job done. 7 eliminations for India. Amin dropping right on them. I don't think that's the best idea in the world. A Palamino, what a play! Buys into the back. taking Zibank out of the equation. Koja rushing in for the pickup, but he's not going to get to his buddy in time. Koja does not know where Amino is. Sprays from the back, pulls out the time turner, still stays on his feet.
Nightmare. They're the ones who are trying to answer back now. Koja trying his best to survive, but the time turner's gone. He's out in the open, nothing to put in terms of avoiding the damage, and eventually that elimination will also be grabbed. And Nightmare, what a turnaround in terms of things, the way they're fighting players off, and it is truly a nightmare for me and BIGETRON at the same time. And same could happen again because MAQNA and REVENANT XSPARK against each other.
Oh, MAQNA, beautiful opener, get bull here with the charge buster of all guns. We'll be able to find the first knock onto Black Hole. One Wolven dropping by with a Max 7. First priority is pick up my buddy, and then the rest of you guys are gonna get the left and the right. Ramiel down on the ground. Nems trying to get away. Winchester in hand. Wolven stepping out, but Nems pulls out the grenade launcher, and REVENANT XSPARK pissed off the wrong squad.
The nightmare that MAQNA went out with, the nightmare that happened to MAQNA just dropping down to Kalahari, and within the blink of an eye, the dream shattered. They do that revenge here on Solara. What a way to turn things around. How quickly, as soon as they understood that REVENANT XSPARK was stuck in a cluster, used that launcher to perfection, and REVENANT XSPARK had nothing to dodge it, not to answer back, and no util could save them there.
My goodness me. The teams that were not so good in the previous matchup really stepping it up. MAQNA and Red Hawks. 4 and 7 eliminations. But on the side of IQOO, Total Gaming Esports, 6 eliminations so far. Recovery after recovery, they are forced to play in this game. I wonder how that is going to help them get towards that final circle. They are putting too many pauses on their stride. Kiba, sliver of hell, 2 players in his face, and Death deals the final blow. And the rest of KAGENDRA comes sweeping on in, but I don't think that's the right move.
GOW, they are just dodging fights at this point, but KAGENDRA, they were the ones who had to dodge this. And GOW seems like they're back. The ones that we were thinking should start up on Kalahari, now they start cooking things in their favor. 10 total eliminations, and I think AJ, might be I should have bought them in my prediction for the second game.
So, welcome to my life, bro. Yeah. This is the team that blows hot and cold. When you expect them to be hot, they serve up cold dishes. And then when you expect them to be absolutely ice cold, they are burning up the battlefield, ripping away lives like the Soul Reapers. You gotta love that about GOW. You gotta love that about Vietnam. PE Sports, on the other hand, you know, they clocked big time in the previous game. And this time, they think they can take the back seat. I think they need to step on the gas pedal a little bit more here before things get out of hand.
Let's hope they do it. Because right now they're also still waiting to revive their last player, the 3-man squad for now. But on the other end, having a 4-way standoff, which could break out at any moment. IQOO Total Gaming, Meta NINZA, MAQNA Esports Club, and Red Hawk. And out of this, 2 of them, as you said, have been super hot, getting eliminations and looking fiery here on Solara. That's Red Hawks as well as MAQNA Esports Club. Plushie being sent out a long distance from Meta NINZA, but it doesn't meet their opponents, and rather on the other end, Ramel with the VSK. What a long range knock. If he could find that elimination, could be the longest distance elimination that we end up seeing here in Solara.
I mean, Ramiel is a legend for sure. Out of the Philippines, not even a Malaysian. The only exported Filipino player in the world of Free Fire who has lasted so long in the pro circuit. This man is a hustler. Fingers crossed he does find some success here on the Asia Invitational together with this MAQNA Esports Club. 4 eliminations in hand so far, as they're going to be bounced on by the team of GOW Demon, meeting Nems. Beautiful glue wall as he backs away. Those ice grenades not tagging them up just yet. Jan wants to go back in there for the refrag. Getbu with the charge buster, turns around, doesn't find anyone just yet. Getbu down on the ground. GOW ripping them apart with those nades.
Nems is the last one. He runs into the other compound. GOW opened up with the launcher and now have complete control of the compound. But look at what MAQNA wanted. And they're still trying to hit those bullets through the glue walls. But they're not the only ones. While MAQNA were trying to do that, this is what I spoke about. It is IQOO Total Gaming. They could do something different. But doing a lot is going to be BIGETRON by Vitality. Nightmare, who wanted their dreams shattered. And now they are the ones who are out of the lobby. But GOW, they run in. They clear the compound before SATL Elite run up towards them, and now they've cleared it. That is the end for MAQNA.
GOW, I'm just gonna call them Soul, bro. Okay? Until I get it into my mouth. The boys back away. Great tags here by Demon and the Winchester, just looking for those clips, fighting them perfectly. But for the time being, it's all about the tactical play here, just melting down those glue walls. Steffi popped on the side of Soul. No grenades are going to reach them just yet. They were already tagged up by the M79 earlier, so this is big brain play coming out here from the Seoul Esports squad. The Indians know the games, but as soon as that Steffi expires, here comes the flurry of nades once again. Glue wall melters just to keep the boys on the side of Seoul confused, but the flank is on. Arman as well as Adib, they move on forth with a sliver of health. He does manage to tag up Death.
Death is back up. This is going to be difficult. 15 eliminations here going for GOW. SATL are trying to surround, but SATL have lost the player. And they're around the compounds, and you can see how well GOW are keeping them out. And one after another, right at the entrance of the compound, GOW put an end to SATL, and that is total 8 elimination. And seems like GOW are ready. Even with the Bolt Maker called in, they are the Bolts of the lobby.
Hey, no doubt at all. Raining those lightning strikes on everybody they come across. Unfortunately, Esports already deleted from this lobby. BIGETRON might just be the next one on the chopping block, as the boys on the side of IQOO Total Gaming Esports bump into them. Koja up top, trying to mess around with the Indian players. Nix will be caught from the back. IQOO sprayed down by Koja, going in for the confirmation. Mafia looking for revenge. Calls Shoto as well. 2v1 puts BIGETRON's final player out of the equation, and IQOO survives that bout.
And look at right now here in Solara, all the teams that got eliminated in Circle 5 on Kalahari are the top 4 teams right now fighting for a booyah. What a turnaround in terms of times in action after just the first game. AJ, we have a spectacular run from everybody. Red Hawks, GOW, Total Gaming and MAQNA ready for a lot more in this final fight.
Oh yeah, man, I mean, this is absolute chaos. MAQNA, IQOO, Total Gaming Esports. 2 Indian squads in the house looking for the booyah here. But Southeast Asia, represented by GOW with massive numbers on the leaderboard. And Red Hawks looking for the top 3 as well. Narrow, that plushie is going to go wide, courtesy of MAQNA. IQOO don't need to mess with them just yet. Red Hawks, on the other hand, have to deal with that plushie, which they do successfully, but the players are all tagged up already. So danger zone now for Red Hawks. They need to keep an eye on GOW.
Go TG to want to try and get closer to MAQNA. The zone's closing from their end, and that's why they're worried about. They're at the edge of the circle. They know that they have to finish in, and look at this. The circle, it now starts moving in their favor, so they don't have to climb downhill anymore. So this fight becomes troublesome, and the team that has to start making a move is going to be Red Hawk. They have to initiate a fight. They have to cross over using these tracks, but IQOO TG, they're not letting them happen, and the same goes for MAQNA. Nades being tossed, flash freeze as well. But while Red Hawks, they want to clear their left flanks to try and make their move towards the other end, and it's not happening as of now. They're stuck, AJ.
Beautiful narrow play here. The plushie sent the way of GOW. Red Hawks know exactly what to expect from behind those glue walls. The glue UAV thrown out by GOW as they anticipated a lot of attacks towards their own defenses, which they perfectly sustained. But now, player after player on the side of GOW, a sliver of health left on them. The circle obviously going to be playing that pressure, but MAQNA and Red Hawks both at the same time trying to shut down these GOW players, giving them no room to breathe.
Breather is not something that anybody can afford at this point, and there it is. Red Hawks somehow have found opening with the launches, with the flash freezes that they throw, along with that MAQNA play together, and 2 enemies become friends with this one fight and eliminate GOW. But it's not done yet. Now MAQNA know who their next opponents are, and chasing right closer to them is Red Hawks. Ready, red hot is what they are, as IQOO TG are eyeing for them, while MAQNA Shanky opens up, and now Red Hawk are in trouble. Blades down, and with that, Ginotra and Shanky Vincent together put an end to Red Hawks. It's down to the two Indian teams, IQOO Total Gaming and NINZA for a booyah.
Yeah, the civil war between India now. IQOO Total Gaming, one player down on the ground. Delete!
Oh!
Gets deleted. Shoto trying his best to stay up on his feet. Valiant Dash will keep him up for the time being. But the boys all surround him, and NINZA walks away with a solid booyah on behalf of India.
What a game, AJ. This booyah and NINZA showing that they did it in the play-ins day one. They're going to do it once again here in the BR main event. And that could be called a back-to-back. And this is worked out, having Arnez, having Shanky in, and you can see there Vincent happy, Ginotra happy. They're all jumping, flexing, because this is what they wanted as they walked into the main event. While we had the big names, they wanted to be the bigger ones.
Yeah, you definitely called that one perfectly right? The back-to-back here by NINZA. They are really proficient on the Solara map, and every single time they've showed up here, they have showed up strong. You got to love it out of the team. And what's even better than the fact that they're consistent on this map is the fact that they found the perfect defensive spot to play their game from. They were keeping an eye on not just GOW, but on Red Hawks as well. At the same time, on OG TSG from afar. This is just brilliant play overall from NINZA in terms of spatial awareness. They did not get caught out a single time in all of those rotations.
And they waited. You could see they could have been the ones in a third-party situation. They could be the ones in the mincing machine, right? Red Hawks on one end, GOW on the other end, IQOO TG right behind them. And look at this, the way they played, the way they rushed. They cornered people. And the last player, they glue-walled him in. He had nothing he could do. What a fight that was. And IQOO TG, I think the timing that NINZA ran right to their faces using the utilities that they had, TG were not ready for it. And you have to give it to these boys. What a start. What a way to prove everybody that we are ready for any lobby that you bring against us.
Absolutely. This is NINZA stepping up big time for India, and they played it perfectly well. Shanky especially, you saw the supreme capability of surviving out there on the battlefield. How many points, though, did they manage to pick up in total? And do they get overtaken by anybody out there? Because we all know IQOO Total Gaming Esports, they did pick up a decent number of eliminations in this fight as well. GOW, I mean, GOW was on a streak when it comes to those eliminations. It wasn't easy bumping into them and walking away. 18 eliminations strong, and they sneak themselves into that second spot. But NINZA holds on to that #1 placement as they pick up the booyah and 13 eliminations for themselves.
Such a close in terms of action for GOW Esports. If they got the booyah, I think clearly they would have jumped up in a big manner, and what we saw 35 plus could have been something exceptional coming in from their end, but you have to give it to these boys. Cool, calm and collected in that same position, and NINZA with the booyah they grabbed. Even IQOO Total Gaming, they're not far away, just 4 points behind, and at the third spot, Red Hawks, they're the ones with 0 is what we saw them in the previous game. Very early eliminations within, I think 2 points in total is what they had. MAQNA were at 0, and even MAQNA this time pick up a really good fight, wipe REVENANT XSPARK, but the mistake that happened was the concluding next fight that came in front of them, and MAQNA were not ready for it because it was none other than GOW. What a way they ran in.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And of course, Red Hawks shutting up the critics. Red Hawks shutting up the haters with this phenomenal performance, getting into the top 4, walking away with 9 solid eliminations as well. This was not just a game of survival for Red Hawks, but this was a game where they are proving that they are very much deserving to be a team that's invited to the main week, as they can keep up with the rest of the competition. Currently doing better than even teams like Nightmare Esports, REVENANT XSPARK, as well as MAQNA Esports, who are slightly below them. But of course, this is just 2 games into the day. We still have got Bermuda coming up before we take a quick short break. But 2/3 of the way, you gotta say, this is not too bad at all from PE Esports. Look at the way they jumped up to the top.
Yeah, I think good stuff coming in from PE Sports. But matching up that ranks our 2 Indian teams, NINZA as well as IQOO Total Gaming, just 4 points. That was same thing that we saw in the game standings right as now. And GOW, I think you have to give it to them. A big turnaround from the game 1 that they did, and now they're at the 4th spot. BIGETRON by Vitality, I thought and was rooting for them, was expecting a lot, but both BIGETRON by Vitality and KAGENDRA, the Indonesian partners from Southeast Asia, share hands with a difference of only 1 point at 27 and 26 respectively. Then coming in is Red Hawks, but yes, we have to give it to Red Hawks the benefit of the doubt that they did not have a starting good game, and then they started in a fashion that nobody predicted that they'll be making it to the top 4. And with that, they're at 17, Nightmare at 16, Revenant XSPARK at 12, SHUL Elite at 10, MAQNA Esports. Second game, a little more that we ended up seeing, but we hope to see a lot more. But for now, waiting is DRS's chance. But we'll come back to that discussion very soon. Let's talk about the MVP of the game. And it has to go to none other than Vincent.
Mr. Vincent with the 5 eliminations, 3,105 damage off of 5 eliminations and 4 assists is massive. This guy was tagging up the whole world before the rest of his team members hopped on in there for those fights as well, right? And obviously doing really well as the main sniper of the squad, but a very interesting active skill as the sniper. He's the one that plays the Nero. I rarely see this.
I mean, there is one thing, yes, I think I might be picking a little too much on Vincent, even though he becomes the MVP. That is the Nero that we were seeing missing, which was going way too far and wide, even in any directions which was getting thrown. Good tries, but I think, again, a little, I think this was, I think this is what Neptune pointed it out. It was him, but I think it should be Meta Ninja, which Neptune pointed, or Nightmare. One of these two teams who did not have a Nero when we were seeing them in action, and now they're trying to inculcate in their active skill. Might be the right way to go.
I was just about to tell him to put it away, but you might just be right. So let's see more of Nero. I mean, I think this is perfect, right? They didn't have that Nero in application. They bring him out and they walk away with a booyah. Clearly this works. But perhaps instead of more air balls, we need to see 3-pointers off of Mr. Vincent, who could just be the Kobe of this squad. But of course, more of that in the future games. We've got 4 more opportunities for them to shine again with those Nero and the plushie plays. Oscar Cassie, A124 Nero makes for a very balanced, aggressive play out of the squad. They're not leading into the defensive plays all that too much with those active skills.
Looking at their passives, as you can see, it's about Ginotra's nades that made a lot of hell break loose. That was the reason you saw him on Alvaro. He had the beast on and the launcher, which did not let anybody get closer. The flash freezes as well, which banked upon them. Let's talk about their individual stats as well. Here, as a support player, RNS played to perfection. As you can see, he has the most amount of assists and the least amount of damage, where his teammates picked up that because he was making sure they do the deal, they do the damage, and they did do the deed. As you can see, at 2,000 for Ginotra, 3,000 at Vincent, and Shanky at 2,000, and they all sharing the majority number of eliminations, assists, and knockouts as well.
And I have nothing against RNS and his stats here, because it may look like he didn't contribute to the match a lot, but we don't really pull up stats for support players, right? This guy did a lot to keep Meta Ninja on the map, to keep Meta Ninja alive in this match. Without him, I dare say Meta Ninja would have been clocked out a long time ago in that lobby already. So yeah, he didn't pull in the numbers, but he definitely kept them alive as the support player. And that is his main role. That is his main job out there, and the man performed really well. I mean, the testament to that is the fact that Meta Ninja got to the final circle, walked away with the booyah. You gotta love it. But we want to see more out of them as well. Now, this is a situation where we kind of see some consistency and we see a little bit of recovery play from these teams as well. But there are a couple of teams down at the bottom who have not really woken up in the fight, which we want to see more of.
Yeah, I think one name that comes up when we were talking about their discussion is DRS. They have been missing, and I think it is that they are getting jumped by a lot of teams and they're not ready for the fight. I think that has to change. They have to know in terms of information where players are coming in, and that's where things could change a lot for them. If it works out, I think DRS is going to be super happy as they're going to be jumping in, because now we are coming into the midway mark, AJ, because this is where it becomes crucial. If you're not picking up pace here in the last 3 games, could be a spiral, could be a snowball effect, and you might lose it all on day 1.
Yeah, but thankfully, there's 6 games, 6 opportunities, and if you mess up the first half, there's still an opportunity for you to recover in the second half. Fingers crossed it is a case where these teams who are struggling are just not that used to Kalahari Solara. Maybe Bermuda is where they can wake up. And I sure as hell hope this is not the actual drop spot we see out there later, because I'm a man who loves chaos. This is too much of chaos.
Too much. There is not even a single squad in this preferred drop spot that is in their own position. Everybody has a clash. Nightmare and PE Sports, IQOO Total Gaming and GOW, SATL Elite and MAQNA. On the other end, Sentosa has 3, REVENANT, XSPARK, KAGENDRA and DRS, and I'm pretty sure DRS wouldn't want that clash at all. We were just talking about them. They need a lot of points going into Bermuda, and as you rightfully said, maybe the first 2 maps a little unfamiliar. They were just trying to get the gist of what's happening in these lobbies of these 12 teams or the 11 teams that they're facing in, and now going back to Bermuda, a lot more familiar, a lot more comfortable, should get them to works.
Yeah, no doubt at all. I think that's going to be the opportunity for some of these teams to wake up in this fight. And if you look at which team has been very consistent playing on this map, I don't even want to say it, GOW. 17 placement points, 37 eliminations in total they picked up at Bermuda during the play-ins, and they were monstrous. It was a disaster to bump into them, and I hope that is not the version of them that we get out here again, because if they run away with the points again, I'm not going to see some of these teams recover, right? So we need to see a little bit of DRS. Fingers crossed this is Nepal's opportunity to rise up.
Yes, big time. I think, yes, we have 2 representatives, but DRS are on this opening day. There's a lot in terms of expectation on them, and as we were seeing already, recovery being done from various teams in our game 2 itself. Let's hope that's going to happen for a lot of them, but we also have to recover, AJ, based on our caster predictions. Let's take a look at it, if we will be able to. And I've gone for IQOO Total Gaming, saw them very closer, could have been a booyah for them. Meta NINZA played smart, so I bring in Meta NINZA as well, and the team, again, in that top 3 who could have had a booyah, I go for GOW.
Well, thankfully, Red Hawks plunked out at the 4th spot, so I did not put them in my top 3 prediction. This time, though, I will throw them back in there. So 3rd spot for Red Hawks, and obviously, I'm looking forward to seeing IQOO Total Gaming just step it up out there as well. They got close enough. I want to see a booyah in their hands. This could just be the game, but also we have to respect where PE Esports is coming from. They started off really hot. Earlier game was one that would have pissed them off royally, and they will be looking to make a very aggressive comeback, which they are very much capable of, at least for this time being, before we bump into Group A. All right, so PE Esports could just be the dominators in this map, but that's just pure assumptions. If we go by the numbers, again, your prediction of GOW, I'm totally with you, man. They are really proficient at finding those points on this map. Nightmare is really good as well. Kagendra is pretty decent on this map. So many opportunities for us, so many options out there, but these are the names we have picked. Let us know who you guys think is going to be dominating this lobby as well. Throw it into the comment section. If you're right, we'll clap for you.
Yeah, I think at least you... At least for us, when we are on desk, we are like, oh no, this did not work out. Why did we pick this name for this map at least? At least they don't have that feeling because they're not on the desk, so you could go for all names that you would want.
They just know how to make fun of us, Lucifer. Bunch of meanies you guys are. We love you guys, all right? We definitely love you guys. But not as much as we love these games, all right? These games have been absolutely hot as we set up game number 3 for Bermuda. It looks like some of the bottom feeders might not be sitting down at the bottom for too long. As we go back into the good old Bermuda, this is where we expect, Lucifer, teams like REVENANT, XSPARK, Nightmare Esports, Seoul Elite, MAQNA Esports, as well as DRS Gaming to finally wake up in the fight and climb up the leaderboard. Let's see if they can get to the summit.
It starts now. They might be familiar with the lands, but the teams that they are facing might be new here in the BR main event. It is day 1, and you did mention about MAQNA right now on the screen on our flight as well. But KAGENDRA, they're the only ones at Sentosa. We should have seen a 3-way clash. This is why we say that is just a way to sell a fake coming in from teams, and towards the other end, just below Keratin, we end up seeing Nightmare, and above at Mill, we end up seeing BIGETRON by Vitality, IQOO Total Gaming. And seems like MAQNA at the Riverside Bridge, we might see a fight between them, because that is the one clash and the drop I'm seeing. Whereas DRS and SATL Elite, they might also be close. I feel that is even closer and could be trouble for MAQNA as well as TG.
I really like the drop spot of GOW and PE Sports here. GOW, beautiful pick in the circle. Bhima Sakti strip should be able to give them decent amount of loot before they decide to rotate on into peak, if there is a necessity to do so. But this just opens up a little bit of extra playtime for them on the looting phase of this matchup. But the players on the side of IQOO, Total Gaming Esports, on the other hand, Elite as well as Ayush getting tagged up early on here. This does not look good, but they are going up against the Malaysian squad of MAQNA, so this should be an easy fight for them based on numbers.
Ooh, quick exchange. They do find the first, but trading that out, Jans instantly on delete. Again, these are isolated fights happening in different directions around Shipyard, around the Riverside Bridge that we spoke about. Shoto again trying to do the same, but against 590 and BIGETRON. It seems like maybe IQOO Total Gaming could become or be in trouble. But what's happening? I see a dot of Meta Ninja also here at Shipyard. Make it more as two of them drop. There could be a three-way standoff, and I hope Ayush has already told his teammates that this is happening, because MAQNA, they are looking ready. They wanted this comeback, and slowly they're trying to do so, as they've already grabbed one from Meta Ninja as well.
Plays on the side of REVENANT XSPARK on the other hand, bumping into a couple of Hogs up in the air, and they want to hunt them down. Problem is, these Hogs are not normal in terms of their gameplay. Guterres, beautiful play on the Vector, finding Black as well. Two more survivors on here for REVENANT XSPARK, and Red Hawk says, hell no. They drop them like they're hot on peak. And now BIGETRON by Vitality. They were the Falcon Hunters at one point of time. Will they become the Red Hawk Hunters as well as they slowly make their approach?
This is looking so good coming in from Red Hawks. I think the first game was just them reading what's happening, how the teams are playing, and now you could see how they're converting fights. But yes, as you said, BIGETRON could be in trouble. Binoculars were used. One of the players was spotted using it from Red Hawk. But on the other end, Vincent trying to get the best of this plushie, sends it in a far distance, falls a little short from where MAQNA were, but you also have to give it to MAQNA because they made that runaway happen. But on the other end, Ginotra is helping Vincent out, and Shanky, you can see already up close, finds the knock, make it 2, has both these players elimination grabbed.
Yeah, boy, that's the way you start. Oh, REVENANT XSPARK losing their spark early here on the third lobby. Bermuda's just not their playground. But Meta Ninja, on the other hand, Shanky, beautiful save. The jump pad, able to get to his buddy. Pick up, not difficult. But the boys on the side of IQOO Total Gaming, the opportunity to shut down the ones who picked up the Booyah Meta Ninja early on in this lobby. But it looks like TG just doesn't want to tag in a lot of aggression. They just want to hang around for a bit.
Yeah, they're just holding this place. But as you said, I'm not too sure what they're doing. But what a shot coming through. Exchanges happening in all directions. But what just happened? SHUL Elite.
2 Indian teams out of Bermuda so early on. Shanky, don't break your legs, man. Takes a nasty drop. Thankfully, nobody catches him off guard. Delete backs away as Geptra spots him out as well. Has got the plasma in hand. Mafia getting into position. He has a sniper. Geptra could just be in trouble here. As Delete backs away. This is not the kind of aggression I expected out of IQOO Total Gaming.
We've seen IQOO Total Gaming, even when they won the championship both in BR and CS, they were playing as a squad together, a bunch. But right now, they're just playing on their individual strengths in different directions, just grabbing any eliminations that they could pick for. Maybe a new strategy to play things out on the starting days, as we said, right? Just go and try everything that you want, and maybe they're doing it, but trying to do it a lot more is going to be BIGETRON by Vitality against KAGENDRA with the bolts called down.
Oh my! KAGENDRA! No! KAGENDRA! Someone just mentioned, okay? Someone literally just mentioned on the YouTube chat that every time I predict Red Hawks in my top 3, they get taken out in the 10th spot. All right? This is not good for my track record.
Quadra kill.
I told you, I think our recovery is going to be the toughest compared to any of these teams. But recovering in a big fashion is KAGENDRA here, AJ. What a fight they're dealing through. It looked like their weaponry was not the best compared to how BIGETRON were ready, but they still answered back in those close range with the submachine guns they had, and KAGENDRA grabbed total of 8.
Yeah, surprising turnaround there, KAGENDRA. And supposedly the slightly weaker team up against BIGETRON by Vitality, but not in that engagement. You gotta love the current meta of Free Fire. Anybody can have a chance out there as long as they've got a early good setup. and they are in the right place at the right time on that map. Just wasn't the right place or time for BIGETRON in that engagement up against KAGENDRA. But thankfully, both Indonesian teams still surviving. Can't say the same for Red Hawks and REVENANT, XSPARK and Seoul. But obviously, that's how the cookie crumbles here. REVENANT, XSPARK and Seoul both really not having a great day at all. In the initial first two games, I think they picked up a total of 12 and 10 points for themselves. And now in this game, almost nothing. That's rough.
There was a lot of expectations as they started things off here on day one for the event, and seems like they're still trying to get a hang of this. Whereas Meta NINZA, they're trying to make sure they put every team down because they have the read of it. But seems like he was the only person here at Shipyard. Instantly uses the pad, jumps, makes the launch in the other direction, and the MAQNA, they thought they could have grabbed one elimination at least. Their thought will be put to a rest for now. All those efforts, nothing gained.
Inside the circle, no problem at all. We've got the team boosters, baby. BIGETRON by Vitality. Kyong backing away, bumping into the Nightmare squad as Amino goes in for the push. A124 popped already, making sure Kyong will not be able to respond with his active skills. And this should be an easy takedown here for the side of Nightmare.
In closer, Kyong, but he's getting Koja closer. And those glue walls give the position away. Does Amin try to continue this? Because I don't see any of his teammates nearby. And if he does, that's one elimination for him. Yes, they're going to revive him as well. But you could see they've still not gone to revive Gopu. And now Amin is surrounded, trying to get a knock. But it's going to be Amin who's going to be knocked and sent back, waiting for his teammates to revive.
I do not know what that gameplay was because that was a great setup and then they flushed that down the toilet. But it's all right. Nightmare should be able to play a quick reset here. Two more players still alive and kicking as we approach the 9-minute mark. BIGETRON by Vitality still chilling outside the circle because they've got the vending machine on their side, looking for that recovery play off of Sentosa and then approaching the rest of the squads, trying to spend as much time as possible so that they can be one of the last few teams rotating in towards the next zone, which is actually a really smart idea because early fights just are not faring well for them.
Not at all. Let's hope it changes because just like how it changed for GOW Esports in the previous game, they're looking forward to maybe it becoming their opportunity, and already with a Winchester, Bjorn sending off long distance shots towards MAQNA Esports Club. The MAQNA Esports Club trying to get back into action, grabbing eliminations. They had 4. Can they push it forward? Can this be an invitation for a fight? Do they think about it? Maybe not the right team to go for the fight because we've been talking about it, right? You have to make the decisive move. You need to read which is against you, and if that works out, it could be better for you. But for now, if GOW don't read it right behind their helm is going to be PE Sports, who could cause them trouble.
Holy hell, Lucifer. This looks like it's about to be chaotic. The civil war between the Vietnamese teams, GOW and PE Sports. Thankfully, that does not break down just yet. GOW taking the pot shots up against MAQNA. This also could be trouble because PE Sports, hearing all of those gunshots, could just go and look for them. Sending out the Riptide with beautiful accuracy, breaking down those defenses. And the rest of the GOW squad just scurrying away as both PE and GOW coincidentally were both targeting MAQNA at the same time. And PE Sports gets the next circle. GOW doesn't have to rotate all the way too far. MAQNA has to find a different way into the circle because both the Vietnamese teams waiting for them.
That is going to be big trouble for them. MAQNA, we've been talking about their comeback. They have to stage it. And just like one end, there's MAQNA on the other end being held by IQOO. IQOO TG is going to be DRS. But MAQNA are making a jump. They're committing for this. It could become a problem if this happens because GOW were ready for it. They were already taking the pot shots. But I like the move. What an advantage of terrain. What an advantage of the map they're taking to traverse around here.
Yeah, big brain play, man. You know, we talked about this. They have to find a way around, and they're like, okay, no problem. Jump back straight to the left, and they find a long rotation, and they also use the binoculars and scan out the players of IQTG. They know exactly where they shouldn't go, and they slowly back away. Dude, this is MAQNA playing this so perfectly with their positioning, but they have to make sure they don't get the timing wrong here. The circle is hot behind them.
They might have picked up a position where they are able to travel, but they are in a dip. They have to make sure they find a way back up, otherwise it's going to be trouble, because going back up again means GOW and PE Sports, maybe even IQOO Total Gaming on the other end. So there's a lot banking on them. They're playing it slow and steady. I really like the pace that they're making with, because in the other games, right, they were forced on that pace. They were forced on the fights, even though they got good enough eliminations on a couple of them, but was not the one that they were ready for as a full-on team conclusion. Whereas GOW, they're waiting for it. This game, however, has not been a big one. They've grabbed 3 eliminations, holding down at mill, and they're taking the advantage of the circle as long as they can, while we are now about to move to the next.
Chat, if you make fun of my predictions, you will have 3 days of bad luck. I have warned you already, Pratik! He's about to have a little bit of bad luck on his own nightmare, though. But what a way to get away from 3 players at the same time. Calls for backup. H shows up. Pratik turns things around. And Nightmare is out. DRS has woken up.
What a time to use that Nero. That worked out in perfection. The plushie kept doing the damage and they stepped right into it, but it's not yet done. DRS have to be quick to answer, because Bigetron by Vitality, they're closing in the gap, trying to hold them off with the melters and the flash freeze. But this is Bigetron by Vitality who need eliminations, and they've closed the gap in as they're tossing their ones.
Oh, Bigetron by Vitality out in the open. DRS, they don't have to worry about too much here, except the circle right behind them. Grenades cooked up here. Takuri looking for one, but will go ahead and find a big miss. Has got the RGS on his side. They pull out the Glue UAV first. Koja rushing straight into the back line. And Pratik punishes it for that. Kyung shows up. And the instantaneous revenge pulled off. Sibeng fighting Stroex. 2 players down on the side of DRS. They need to fight more than Kyung. Digs a sliver of health left on him. And they drop him in DRS though. Close, but not close enough.
Not close enough. Yes, I agree. That was a really brilliant attempt coming in from DRS to hold off Bigetron. It was not enough, even though outside the play zone. But right now, trying to hold off is going to be GOW on IQOO Total Gaming. While MAQNA is just hearing all of this. I don't know if IQOO Total Gaming will be continuing this. And they are. They decide, doesn't matter. Let them throw all of they have. We are going to put our glue walls, get it closer.
What's going to be crazy if PE Esports peaks from the peak of that hill? This is going to be an instant delete here for the side of IQOO Total Gaming. But GOW not even waiting for PE Esports to get that done. They single-handedly annihilate the Indian squad. IQOO Total Gaming could not get past the Great Wall of GOW.
But right now, trying to get away from Bigetron, MAQNA, they're losing their players down to the last man, Gebu. Diggs is right next to him. Keon getting closer and Diggs puts him down, and that's MAQNA Esports Club going down. Their survival game did not work for far too long. They owned to the top 6.
Yeah, MAQNA overstayed their welcome. Great rotation, but they just did not hold on to a decent enough defensive spot. Bigetron, the moment they showed up, they owned that space. Diggs now down on the ground, almost bleeding out. And Meta NINZA putting the pressure on them, wanting to get that back-to-back booyah. Gitra down on the ground. Shanky for the save, and the rest of them just backing these boys up. Great double glue walls pulled out. Shanky pulling away the attention of the rest of the players on the side of Bigetron by Vitality. Gitra sprayed down yet again, and Meta NINZA now left with just 3.
Janky making sure he doesn't let them closer, but Bigetron seems like they might have a different approach. They're waiting. They're making sure that it's going to be Meta NINZA who make an approach, and they're playing their best bets. They're moving players around, putting the glue walls, and you can see how well they're using the terrain advantage. They want an upper angle against Meta NINZA, as they've already lost one. 15 total eliminations already here for Bigetron. They have their utils ready, as well as the weaponry, but PE Sports, they say we are ready for the third party, and Nero might be in trouble, and yes, he is, as he gets knocked by Kyung.
Yeah, Nero just kind of making that one wrong move there, not looking the right direction. Nolan pulls out the time turner, protects himself for the time being. But the question is, how long can they survive? Lightning Zone called out as well. Bolt Maker on the pull. Diggs turns his back around to Nolan. PE Sports could not get that backstab in time. Bigetron just way too strong in this fight. 18 eliminations. 2 Indonesian squads in this final circle, alongside the Indians, Meta NINZA, who are looking for the back-to-back.
This could be their back-to-back or Bigetron's very first. KAGENDRA also looking forward to their very first. These Southeast Asian squads want to now step up, want to make sure they put their name, they put their flag, and you can see Bigetron, the launchers, as well as Sibeng's AWM puts an end to it. And now KAGENDRA, an Indonesia versus Indonesia fight coming through. Southeast Asia versus Southeast Asia, and Sibeng is the one to start things off.
Oh, Raz. Oh, beautiful throw off that plushy. Raz has got that Riptide rhythm, breaks down the defenses of Diggs, and Jojo backs him up with a BSK, flanking from the left, getting those eliminations. And KAGENDRA now squishing in all of those players on the side of BIGETRON in this little spot. Riptide rhythm breaking down the defenses of Goja. No way for him to protect himself. Seabank gets tagged up by the circle and Jojo, and KAGENDRA will annihilate BIGETRON to pull a booyah for themselves.
This is what they wanted the very first game. They tried their best, very close to it, but somebody else stole it. But this time, when it came to their competitors from their regions, KAGENDRA not just wanted to get the booyah for the Asia Invitational in the BR main event, they wanted to also be the better team against BIGETRON.
I mean, what a fight. Towards the very end, NINZA did manage to squeeze themselves into the top 3, but it just wasn't enough in terms of firepower. Indonesia overwhelmed them. Let's take a look at the final shot of the game once again between BIGETRON as well as KAGENDRA. NINZA surviving long enough, but then until BIGETRON happened, that rush was just unbelievably strong.
Too good coming in, and you have to give it to the positions that KAGENDRA were playing in. One player, two initially were on the bridge, but once the circle was closing in, they decided to send the other players ahead, and Jojo made sure he kept an eye out below the bridge, and that worked out in perfection. And they couldn't even bat an eye whether they have to look straight ahead, look straight up, which is the direction they're going to be fighting in. KAGENDRA, in terms of that team tactics, in terms of the team's positioning, played to perfection. That is the reason they grabbed this booyah. But I think before that, you had to give it to BIGETRON by Vitality, the way they were clearing every team off one after another.
No doubt at all, that was a phenomenal effort from the squad. But I have to say, massive game by both BIGETRON as well as KAGENDRA. I will not be surprised if they launch themselves up towards the top of the leaderboard, because they've been fairly consistent in the day here so far, getting into the final circle, getting massive eliminations for both sides, right? Because I do believe KAGENDRA only had about 15, 16 eliminations, there you go, and 21 by BIGETRON Vitality, sneaking away the first spot from KAGENDRA, who walked away with a booyah.
That's why I was worried. That's why I said they kept sweeping every other team. They kept wiping everybody in the lobby, and rightfully so, they deserved the spot. If they had the advantage of the circle, the way moved in, eliminating MAQNA, clearing out everybody else, Esports as well, it could have been their booyah. Unfortunate, it was KAGENDRA who played for position, got that booyah, and they're going to be the favorable ones. Total of 27 points. GOW right behind them could have had an opportunity. They had a good position, but I think they waited far too long, AJ, at mill. Just kept holding that position off. Same goes for MAQNA. They also rotated, very smart, but they also waited for far too long rather than getting closer to somebody, initiating a fight, and that ended up becoming a disaster and a problem. But Redhawks, again, pick up points, slowly catching up pace. It's not enough, but let's jump to the MVP. It is going to be Rash on that Nero, making sure, and I think this Nero's plushie was the MVP as well in this final fight. Did not let BIGETRON get up closer, because as soon as they were trying to, that hill had a Nero.
Raz is an MVP. Raz is a liar. He's not a support player. He's a grenadier. Look at this man. M79, Beaston, Alvaro. He's chucking those nades at everybody that he comes across. Barely walking in here with a setup of an assist player, but he definitely assisted the rest of them when it comes to getting in those initial tags. And the splash damage off of those grenades were just super nasty off of Raz. Has the Suzy and Moko there as well. Extra coins never hurts the current meta. And obviously Moko with the capability to tag up all of his opponents. And that is the game of information that KAGENDRA played so well towards the end.
Now with the MVP round, let's take a look at the whole team as well, of what they were packing as a punch, while Raj was lying, while his teammates were, yes, for sure, trying to do the gist of what they needed as assaulters. As you can see, Kiba and Dead both on Tatsuya and Oscar, while they have 4 to tank that plays on damage on Kiba. This is where it tells you, right, as an assaulter as well, they're trying to go out beyond the limits, grab that elimination or a knock, and then help their teammate out, making sure with the Dreki as well. This is something that I'm liking to see a lot more often. Earlier it was a lot more just Arvons coming through, and with this Dreki, nobody can hide from you if they're recovering from damage.
yeah, it's always good to have at least one recce on your squad. I don't really understand the overkill with the R1s there. Obviously,
Yeah.
Beastin and Recce, you know, being a part of the game just gives you a little bit of capability to spot out some of your opponents in some of these heated battles, and it's always a plus point, right? And look at the damage here coming through from the player Kiba. 791 damage, but the assists are there. This was the guy initially running into a majority of these engagements alongside Dead with the initial tags. And then Jojo and Raz, Jojo especially from afar with the VSK, getting in those clips, but it was not as massive as obviously the MVP Raz, walking away with 7 eliminations. Man did a lot in that fight.
Big time. And you could see clearly here, Kiba and Dead, their intentions were making sure whatever their teammates do as a knock or damage, that's what they wanted to keep on going. That's the reason we don't see a lot in terms of damage or eliminations coming in from there, and they had to be there making sure that the opponents who were trying to get closer do not get an opportunity at all, and they held that positioning really, really well as assaulters, right, jumping to their faces, and the utilities as well, especially, which was kind of also held back by Bigetron till the very end of fights. We saw a lot coming in from there, and to push off Raz as well, they threw a plushie of their own, making sure that Raz moves in the other direction, doesn't have a spot directly below. Tried everything that Bigetron could have done in terms of pulling off from their hat, but I think KAGENDRA, they wanted this booyah. We saw this booyah that they pulled off on day 1 play-ins. They're doing it here as well on the main event.
Absolutely, man. That plushie toss was a thing of magic, and I think it really threw them in for a fix. But overall, grand scheme of things, if you're KAGENDRA and your support player is really climbing the ranks in terms of the damage as well as eliminations, you've got nothing to complain about, right? Because at the end of the day, you still manage to walk away with a booyah. My concern is definitely going to be with the fact that their rushes are not bringing in the numbers. But the best part of this is, when they do start bringing in the numbers, you can expect more points off of KAGENDRA, right? So that is great news for us, looking for the entertainment. Very bad news for the rest of the teams out there who are struggling to keep up with the Southeast Asians. NINZA obviously getting in there, but they could barely do anything much in that final circle. They got ganged upon. They couldn't really respond. I think it was an easy wipeout, which I think NINZA should have given us a little bit more of, but the situation that they were in, couldn't give that.
Hey, I think as of now, we've seen best in terms of all the teams that they had to in the Group and BC action, right? It is time for them to now also figure out what is the best way forward for the next 3 maps that we'll be looking forward to, and that's starting on next Terra. These 12 teams have figured something out, and it's been changing in terms of the booyah. We've not seen one consistent team pick up booyah. We've not seen one consistent team always at the top 3, so it's always changing. All the teams are adapting to the next 3, but we'll see if it's going to continue as Neptune and Crips are going to jump to the desk after this break. Don't go anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is the Free Fire MAX Asia Invitational 2025, and so far, the first half was phenomenal. AJ and Lucifer just gave us an awesome show. We are now on the second half of this day. I am Neptune Gentleman Garcia, joined by the one and only Crips, and we will be your casters all throughout the day.
Yep, it's gonna be a really fun evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have some high-octane Free Fire in action store for you. This so far has been a mixed bag, honestly, Neptune, because up until now, I was under the impression that all the Vietnamese teams were going to dominate, and they did, at least for the first half of the day. And then later on, you had teams like NINZA stealing it away right under their noses, KAGENDRA taking the advantageous positions away from all the teams who are trying to stay positioned up on that archway. We have so many twists and turns. It becomes really difficult to predict what exactly is going to happen and which one of these teams will continue dominating, because even the gods sometimes can just stumble.
I definitely agree. I mean, it seems like because of the introduction of the new teams, there are a few that is disrupting what the other teams, especially top 10 from the first week, are doing in this battlefield. And this is what we love, because with all those twists and turns, with all those core walls being thrown to the teams right now, they only have 3 days to work on it to get into the grand final. So I'm really looking forward to what they are going to bring into the table right here, and what adjustment, how quick of an adjustment they are going to put them on, because they really need that right here.
Honestly, the adjustments so far have been really difficult to even get used to. Even I, as a neutral third-party observer, has not been able to figure out how do these teams suddenly get in the zone to go ahead and destroy everybody, and then suddenly you have to just figure out, oh, we can't afford to go ahead in a very aggressive manner, so you just have to lean back a little, just curtail the aggression a little.
Yeah,
it's really difficult to change those mindsets.
I do agree. Well, let's see if the teams will be changing mindsets, because in a bit we're going to see their drop spot in this map of NextEra. And you know how it is. Some would try to go in for a chaotic run, but we'll see though if Farmtopia as well as Boxing Gym would really take up 7 of the teams that we have right here, because it would be chaotic, but we know for a fact, and even mentioned by AJ and Lucifer, that some of the teams, yes, they lock this in, but they really don't go there because they want to have a safer spot early on this game, especially in NextEra. I mean, it's a huge map, and only a few compounds really take in that early drop.
Exactly. So there is quite a lot of possibility to avoid all these early battles as well, because according to this map, plenty of spots are unoccupied. Although I do kind of expect Intellect Center to be contested by more than just DRS. I kind of have a feeling that REVENANT XSPARK might just switch up their drop spot later on and then go somewhere close to Intellect Center, maybe a split drop, you know, if not completely committing to Intellect Center. Same with SHUL Elite. I know for a fact that they love Grab Labs and Plazaria, so they might eventually end up at Farmtopia after dropping somewhere else, but I don't think it's completely out of their rotation path in this game.
Well, let's see though. Let's see if they can pay through to that, because they really need to find a different spot overall. They need to get into the edge, or for those bold enough, from what we've seen in that preferred drop spot, they get in the middle, but I'm pretty sure they will scatter later on, because no one wants to risk it. This is the second half though, and it's Group B and C, though they have another play day, but who would risk that, like, just one map out of here?
Exactly.
Especially if you're not part of those teams who made it on the top already. Like, we have BTR, we have KAGENDRA, and you did mention about NINZA, GOW, as well as PE Sports. PE Sports getting that first booyah. So that's the first half of our teams, our list of teams right now, that is doing so much, and you don't want to risk that in NextEra.
Exactly, especially on a map like NextEra, where there's plenty of opportunities for you to go ahead and revive your players. There's plenty of room. Even if you have a chance at survival again, there's a chance that you might just end up feeding all of those points to the other teams instead of trying to keep yourselves alive. And that's exactly why I've picked up teams over here who I know can disengage really quickly if they know that the fight is going south for them. Like, for example, IQOO TSG, GOW, and PE Sports. The Okay, IQOO TSG, I'm sorry, IQOO Total Gaming, my bad, not IQOO TSG. IQOO Total Gaming, I think it's a self-explanatory pick because this map happens to be one of their strongest maps. But I picked up GOW and P Esports because so far in the 3 games that I've noticed, the Vietnamese teams actually really know when to disengage from the fight. They will get in there, get a bunch of eliminations if it's going their way, but if they feel like it's dragging on for too long, if they're not able to close out the fight and they realize that, hey, there's a third party on the horizon about to come in, they disengage really quickly, and that's what's keeping them alive for all these games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, some of the tactics of the teams right here is just to like make sure that they end the game within 10 to 20 seconds. And you did mention that they know how to pull away. They choose their fight quite well. And that's one reason why they survive quite long. That's so many years and so many losses that they've experienced in, I would say, in Southeast Asia, especially for PE Sports and GOW, as you did mention, that they planned or they made that plan already. We've seen that happen as well, even in South Asia. For some teams, if they couldn't handle the battle, they have that insurance policy. Though they don't pull away as an entire squad, but they have one who's ready to go into the vending machine or probably revive platform to bring back the rest of the squad, just in case they go a little bit too aggressive.
Exactly. And because all of these teams have an insurance policy, some of these teams have been failing to keep that one last guy alive, and that's why you've seen teams like Red Hawks get eliminated quite early on as well. Even if they make it, they can't make it past the 5th circle. Can they do it now? We'll find out, ladies and gentlemen, very, very soon, because this game is about to be on your screens any second now.
Yeah, let's see now where the teams will be dropping at this point in Nextera. The future is here, and hopefully this is not just a foresight of what's going to happen in the grand finals, but just a warning for those who might be failing. But as we take a look at the flight path coming from Intellect Center, in between Deca Square and Mudside, where it will end, and I guess IQOO TG or Total Gaming just occupies Intellect Center alone. Now, REVENANT XSPARK, as you did mention, or as we've seen earlier, they have museum, but they are also overextending towards Parmtopia just in case they meet some. But SAUL, it seems like they are in a battle. And lead squad, let's see if they can bring the lead game in this fight.
Can Teeks survive this? He manages to get into cover. GOW, on the other hand, are trying to spread out and get as many angles onto BTR as possible. Wait, hold up though. Did SAUL get eliminated already? It's been a minute! Just one hot minute and SAUL are already out.
I mean, it's tough, really. You go a little bit too aggressive. You don't have those weapons available on you, and you will be taken out. Hopefully, they can recover later on. But speaking of recovery, it seems like BIGETRON right now will be dealing that much blow onto GOW. Only one remains, and recovery is needed for the team. But not only that, they might be seeing MAQNA Esports Club on the horizon. We have a whiff of them, but with that hit list already triggered, seems like that will be the area where the teams of BIGETRON Vitality will be pulled in. On the other side, we have Nightmare going in onto the fight against IQOO Total Gaming, and let's see if they can win this fight. Amino going in for the rush, but the backstab is happening. Shoto, though, goes down from that AUJ coming from GoPuOP.
GoPuOP finds the angle inside box gym, but Farhan from the outskirts, he's trying to make sure that the flank of Delete and Ayush is unsuccessful. He staves off the flank for now, forcing them back inside. Trying to surround them. Can he actually get those shots? He misses the ones onto Ayush. That's an opportunity squandered. And now they have to reset all over again. Farhan using the glue walls to cover the distance. He's trying to land the pre-fire onto Delete, but Delete gets the better of him. Ayush does come through with a trade, and that is going to be the end of the fight for Nightmare Esports, with Amin having to fall back again. And that's just rather unfortunate. At least you didn't get completely eliminated.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were talking about insurance policy. Amino was just that guy who can pull away, and hopefully he can get the whole squad back. But as you can see right now, a lot of teams are being revived. Even BTR, earlier they got 3 elimination, and now they have only 2 players into the mix. And a quick revive onto Kyung as well as Dix, as we have Meta NINZA with 3 elimination already in Twin Bridge. Now on DRS side, 1 elimination, no target just yet, unless they spot Ayush on the underneath that bridge. But Stroix a little bit too quick on the movement, not really putting so much in focusing on the horizon, and I guess a few has been spotted already, but no shots has been made.
Meanwhile, you can also see a bunch of fights on the other end of the map. BIGETRON by Vitality as well as Total Gaming. They weren't exactly the teams who were locking horns at first, but now fate has brought them together as well. Nobody is safe.
Ooh.
Ayush can't get away. He's gonna get finished off by Demon, so that's another third party encroaching in on this fight. With all these three teams locking horns against each other, it's gonna pick up a trifecta of destruction. Elite can't get away. And his number has been up as well. But at least TG, they're still safe, right? They can still revive their players.
Yeah, and they have revived their players, but that's one thing as well about the names. We were talking about that, especially with AJ. I mean, if you have a name very close enough to how you don't want to to happen in the battlefield, like delete, you get deleted. Well, unless you're the one to lead in, then that's a different story. But let's see if that is something that might change for them. For KAGENDRA, 4 elimination already. They have spotted one player from REVENANT XSPARK. Sahil will need to hide out, but I guess it's too far away. KAGENDRA is in a good spot and might be able to find whoever has triggered that hit list, or whoever they triggered the hit list on, and that is Jinotra from Meta Ninzas. But it's quite far away. It's MAQNA Esports on the horizon that they have spotted, so they are preparing in this compound in museum.
MAQNA Esports do get the knock on to Sahil, finish him off, but the rest of REVENANT XSPARK isn't anywhere close by. That being said, though, MAQNA Esports have quite a lot of control over this part of the map. They've got Turbine in its entirety. Even the UAV won't spot them out. And I kind of want to, now that we have the time to, talk about things since there's nobody actively getting shot at, by that logic, players like Dead would definitely not live up to their name because they are the ones doing a lot of slaying.
Well, let's see. I mean, if you can really flip that script, I will love you for that. I would love you for that because at some point there are a few that is really bring in what they are reliving in terms of name. I'll say GOW in the horizon of DRS right now. Demon, really a demon in the fight, really a demon in the battlefield, and we've seen that in the BR play-ins. Now let's see though if the other teams might be able to spot them out. Rip! Oh! Even before that, we have REVENANT XSPARK being eliminated on 11 right now. Now, I just witnessed Rip with an RGS, and he just locked on that vehicle right there, and it was tough to see. Now, let's see if they'll be able to find another one as we move into the other side. It's Nightmare with 2 elimination, and it is GoPro OP who have won, but Farhan has been knocked down, so a pickup is bound to happen.
Mafia also taking off to the skies. Whoop! I mean, he could have been shot down midair. Let's be honest, we've seen a lot more midair shootdowns than we have seen Viking funerals over here. REVENANT XSPARK getting finished off in a water vehicle is not something I would have expected. Not in this tournament. This wasn't on my bingo card. But hey, at least this tournament is showing us something new, so I am very happy about that. Meanwhile, Mafia, rather unaware about Gopu's positioning. Mafia had no idea that Gopu followed him using his own launcher. And now he's got the blue walls trying to hide behind that tiny piece of cover. Flushy used, but it's not going to challenge Gopu. Gopu actually wants to peek you, so the Flushy won't really flush him out. And finally, he blows apart Mafia to smithereens.
Yeah, when you try to be smart, saving up the glue wall, using a little bit of cover, but that RGS will not let you survive. I mean, it does have that area effect, but speaking of surviving, seems like KAGENDRA will not be surviving either. We've seen the aggression coming from the team, but didn't get a whiff of who took them down. I believe it is BIGETRON, and you know how it is. Once that Civil War starts, they know exactly how they move, then they just understand how well they can take down the top dog like KAGENDRA. And it seems like BTR, BIGETRON by Vitality, is a bigger dog from that fight.
Yeah, and BIGETRON have been moving around all of Farmtopia and Museum and all the areas in between. They know that a lot of teams will try to pick up compounds in this second circle. Before the third one pops, they want to make sure that they wipe out as many encroachers as possible. Because the moment this game drags on, the moment there's more teams in the vicinity, they won't have the luxury of being as aggressive.
Let's see though. Aggression, BTR, Koja a little bit too deep. M79 in hand, pulls out that time turner, but got backstab with M59. They come from Get Boo, but there goes Kyong for a payback. But Raymil with Charge Buster rushes in. Koja even went down, and let's see if there's something else that they can do at this point. But MAQNA Esports seems like a little bit stronger compared to how they saw them earlier. 8 elimination already, and 2 remaining in here compared to BTR. We're in, yes, they have 2, but seems like they have been spotted by the real soldiers, and it is Batik who saw 1 and ends 1.
MAQNA Esports Club, they use their binoculars. They figured out that DRS is right around the corner, and they also know that there's probably a lot of players inside that one compound, so DRS are not splitting up. But given this Farmtopia area is built to split up and fight, they expect danger around the corner. However, over here, Red Hawks in a little bit of danger, and once again, their red-hot streak of eliminations comes to an end. This time, they bow down with slightly more eliminations than last time, 7 to their name. But GOW, they make a clean exit. There is a potential third party on them, but all 4 of them are still alive, and they don't need any reset. They are ready to battle again.
And we were just talking about that earlier, Cribs. We're in, like, a team like GOW can end the game, an engagement in 10 to 20 seconds. And I think that's even less. Probably it's because there's only a few players from Red Hawks that they need to deal with. And it's just very unfortunate that Red Hawks was taken down and not even getting that much in terms of placement. But speaking of placement, position-wise, IQOO Total Gaming, great position coming from Mafia, even covers from that tree and putting havoc against MAQNA. Great use of that Nero right now to spot where everyone would be with that Moko, and he's just spraying in there, even with SVD.
And DRS have no idea what they're walking into. MAQNA Esports is already under so much pressure from Total Gaming that DRS had no idea they were getting shot at. Pratik finds out the hard way as he gets a bullet from Total Gaming, but at least he's been rezzed back up. Now MAQNA Esports, they get shot by GOW as well. Oh my god, these guys just cannot catch a break. 4 teams are hunting them down. These guys are getting so unlucky right now. It's just Nems left, and he also can't hold on. Pratik with the double elimination, putting MAQNA Esports Club out of this game.
Oh yeah, it's just unfortunate for MAQNA Esports. They do have aggression, but unfortunately, they were in there a little bit together. They're trying to go in for cover from the pressure that's being brought in by IQOO Total Gaming, but unfortunately, they also receive a lot of damage from that Nero's plushie. And when the RS jump in, that's where they slowly goes down. Even a lot of pressure from those surrounding them. But I'm loving the position from Total Gaming at this point, and they are still maintaining the high ground. The only question, though, is how are they going to get down, and who might be spotting them? Hopefully, the glue wall will be in perfect timing once they jump out.
GOW, they don't care whoever's in front of them, right?
Oh,
whether it's DRS, whether it's Meta Ninja, if you see them move, they are gonna shoot you. Oh, Esports landing on top of Meta Ninja. All 4 of them. This is the full commitment. No insurance policy. They are going in for the full send. And at the same time, Meta Ninja are getting shot at by DRS as well as GOW. Oh my god, these guys are in the epicenter of all the action. I would hate to be in that house right now with them.
But I would hate to be GOW right now, because you would be pissed if in case Meta Ninja would be eliminated by PE Sports, wherein you spend so much time targeting them. But PE Sports did find a tent of their own, moved away from Meta Ninja, probably felt that there's so much pressure. But speaking of pressure, this is one trouble when it comes to Nextera. There are a lot of those small compounds, and there's a standstill that's happening. But that's where some of the players are utilizing that Nero, because once you just see one, just throw that plushie in, and it seems like that was a pass. From BTR, they throw a plushie onto DRS, and then DRS throws a plushie to Meta Ninja. Won't be surprised if Meta Ninja has a Nero and then throws it to PE Sports.
Yep, it will be passing the parcel. You know, it's like one of those games you play as a child at someone else's birthday party. But right now, PE Sports, they have a much more dangerous game ahead of them, and that is crossing this treacherous land. They use 2 glue walls reinforced with the UAV to get into the next white tent. But then, even if they want to get into the zone, they will have to do it one house at a time, one compound at a time. You've got DRS in control of the burger shop. You got Meta Ninja in control of the red brick kitchen house.
Oh, no.
GOW don't have much cover to themselves. They have to come out in the open, so they are somewhat vulnerable right now.
vulnerable, and also if BTR gets close to them, they might be out. But one smart move, I would say the smart move for GOW right here, because a lot of teams are focused on compounds, and right now they can slowly creep in if they can do it stealthily. But it seems like they are also receiving a lot of damage from the A124, and they won't be able to use that skill for a few more seconds, but they are just waiting patiently. Once that expires, they can rush in onto the windows of Meta NINZA, use those time turners to make sure they will not be shot out from behind. But Dion almost one shot and C-Bank, but a BSK brings him down. The full power of GOW has been averted.
Yeah, but Demon, he has to keep the whole power alive. Shanky dives out of the house, tries to get the shots onto them. He does get one, but eventually gets traded out. Meta NINZA are committing more and more of their players. Ginotra also making a very risky move by going outside, but BTR, they are indiscriminate in their destruction. They rain them down with all the nades and utility as possible. Nightmare Esports, they are grinded down to dust in the process. But Meta NINZA, with all their 3 players, they have somehow managed to weather the storm. GOW get forced out of the lobby by BTR. They put the final nail in the coffin, and now with more plushies, they move in. Shanky trapped in a corner, nowhere left to go, nowhere left to hide, and he's got BTR people knocking on the doors, trying to barge the door down, and that's the end of Meta NINZA as well. BTR, 15 eliminations strong.
Oh, 15 elimination, and they are still at it. Now, let's see if they'll be able to spot on IQOO Gaming from this side, because yes, they are the same spot, also near to where the next phase would be shifting, but Nero, the M79, goes on for the rush, and there goes Valiant Dash from LBT. Nero almost down, but Mafia can still fight back, puts up that blue wall, try to recover, but the blue, as well as shots from behind, might take him down.
No!
And then it's Lao Ho with that car, as well as a Riptide Rhythm. It's PE Sports dealing with them right now. We have 3 teams remaining.
BIGETRON by Vitality have such a good spot in the zone. They can cut the rotations of Esports as well as DRS in half. But if they get focused by both the teams at the same time, then this would be the end for them. BTR need to make sure that they stop DRS in their tracks. They know DRS is using the cover of the red brick house. Up close sniper shots. They try to go for it, but DRS, they use the glue walls to inch closer and closer and close the gap. The landmine, no, it actually ends up working in the favor of BTR, and they've got so many knocks in their favor. Rezes from Ace Ayush tries to come through. Storex, he manages to get one player back upon his feet, but can they survive? This is so claustrophobic. A single nade could be their undoing. Asalu gets one another through his name. Storex tries to go around from the other side, and now PE Sports have arrived on the scene. There's absolutely no stopping them, and one single nade from Nero will put DRS to rest. PE Sports with yet another booyah.
DRS, all efforts has been denied by PE Sports, and that was just not knocking on the door. They really jumped in and broke the door down, especially with Nero with that M79. But I really love how BTR tried that against DRS earlier. We're going to see that in a bit on what gameplay really happened in that final moment, because BTR pulled them in onto one edge of that compound, or the corner of that compound, and also lays a few more of those landmines, who almost eliminated DRS. But the good thing that the pickup was quite good from DRS side, and they were not that pressured against BIGETRON despite of the blue just next to them.
Yeah, but with BIGETRON trying to handle both these teams at the same time, they drew in almost all of their resources, just drowned it in the fight against DRS. And because BIGETRON were the ones who were on the outskirts of that house, they got shot down by PE Sports. You see, PE Sports, they didn't care who they shot at. They didn't care which one of these teams dies, as long as one of them goes down. And because BIGETRON were on the outskirts, they were the ones who got shot by PE Sports. If they decided to go in and fight DRS indoors, then maybe PE Sports would have had like a slightly harder time dealing with them. But again, you can't exactly predict for these things. At that point, DRS and both BIGETRON, they had their hands full. They had no choice because the blue forced them to move in that direction.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's something that PE Sports really timed to the T. They're not engaging in there, but the moment that they are in there, they jump into the fray, they just distracted both of the teams, both BTR as well as DRS. Now, As we look into the points, 25 total points coming from BTR, BIGETRON by Vitality, and 21 from DRS. PE Sports, the ones who grabbed the Booyah because of how, I would say, slow they got into that party. They didn't get that much in terms of elimination, but at least they have that Booyah.
PE Sports, yeah, this is rather one of their more tame games. We've seen massive 35-point games from them. So another 25-pointer game seems like something is missing. But, I mean, they didn't even get many opportunities to go ahead. BIGETRON, on the other hand, I'm glad that they ended up getting more points than anyone else over here, even though they didn't get the Booyah. And yes, sure, we've seen PE Sports get those 35-pointers, but 20 points is good enough for them. At least they have one more Booyah in the pocket. And 12 placement points with the Booyah, it's going to, you know, make you go ahead of a lot of these other teams who have way less eliminations than you.
One thing that I'm quite surprised, and I guess you were as well when we saw it in the feed, was SUL Elite. That's a tongue twister for me at that point. But they were eliminated a little bit early from that fight, probably just too aggressive. Drop in the same spot, and then they were just isolated one after the other. So hopefully that's something that we might see change later on. But right now, let's take a look on that MVP, and it would be Nero with 6 elimination, 3,764 on damage, and 2 assists. I've been asking for this. Like, a combination of the player Nero with an active skill Nero to be used, and Nextera might be where he can bring that to perfection. We've seen a lot of players use that because there's so much advantage that you can use it, especially in final moments. Pull that plushie out that like prevents your opponent to really put out the glue wall, and then you can rock it with an M79 coming from Nero. It looks so deadly.
And I'm glad that we can see all these people switch around their team compositions based on what's required in the map. Like, if I'm not wrong, he was using Chrono the last time he got the MVP, right? I don't think he was using a Nero at that time, which is why both AJ as well as Lucifer were having such a laugh about it. And now we finally get to see Nero use Nero, so it's really poetic that way. That being said, though, they, if you notice, are now using 2 of these characters which are you know, capable of busting down these glue walls, Skylar as well as Nero. So they basically don't want their opponents to have any sort of cover at all.
Yeah, I mean, they're seeing the potential of a Nero right now, especially with Lao Ho, who always brings that Skylar out. Once a glue wall is out of picture, there's easier shots that can be made. And if you have like a Skylar followed up by the Nero, so you break down their initial glue walls, you use that Nero to prevent them in putting them up, then you have clear view for Lao Ho to take those shots, for LBT and Nola to go for your rush, and even for Nero to pull out that M79. So I'm really loving this kind of lineup right now, as well as adjustment map after map. But as we look into the team stats individually, it seems like Nero just bagged a lot of points from that final moment when DRS as well as BTR was fighting. Thus, he had 6 elimination, and the rest didn't get that much.
Yeah, so PE Sports really had to be a lot more careful about the fights that they pick up. They really weren't as aggressive as we've seen them before, except for maybe Nero, because he has racked up a ridiculous damage score. 3,764, so far ahead of his teammates. It's something we don't see very often, where one player has such ridiculously high numbers than the rest of his teammates. Usually, whenever PE Sports get a Booyah like that, they have quite a similar amount of damage across the board. So this is rather rare, but it's their second Booyah, and that puts them up at the 2nd spot on the overall standings.
Yeah, again, we mentioned from when Vietnam was on the rise, PE Sports was a motivation for everyone. And that's one possible reason why GOW has been putting that much of fight, even for BR play-ins up until the main event. But right now, it's PE Sports who are showing up. And it's a good thing that they're, like, they didn't falter in terms of their gameplay, but I would say the curse is still on them, because if you remember, they got that first Booyah in Kalahari. They fell down a little bit early in Solara, couldn't recover that much in terms of elimination, but good thing they get good placement in Bermuda, and now they got that Booyah. So they're slowly building that up. Compared to what we see in GOW, it seems like PE Sports are still warming up right here.
Yeah, so while PE Sports are just warming up, you can use this opportunity before they gather full steam. And
yeah.
maybe a lot of these other teams would like to capitalize on their first day as well, right? Because we see a lot of these Indian teams towards the bottom of the scoreboard who haven't even gotten more than 20 points. They still got 2 more games remaining to make day 1 count. If they don't manage to do this, well, then it's going to be very hard for them when they come in later on day 2 and day 3.
Yeah.
The same goes for MAQNA Esports Club, just barely under the 20-point marker. These guys really need to bring something up, whether it's them amping up their aggression by getting a lot of elimination points, or if they just play for the placements. Pick either one lane and just stay in it, because you need to make something of this day.
Yeah, let's see though. Well, let's see. Speaking of lane, this is where teams might be taking their lanes right now when they go in onto the next map. It is a little bit spread out compared to what we've seen earlier, but you know how chaotic Purgatory can be, especially if everyone really decides to jump into Central. And we're seeing REVENANT XSPARK, we have MAQNA Esports, and IQOO Total Gaming right now. But we might see some who moves to Lumber Mill as well as Mount Villa. There's still plenty of space on South, but that would depend on where the flight path is. And Purgatory, though I haven't seen it just yet, we might be able to see a very skewed flight path in this day.
Yeah, and that's going to make it very difficult for these teams to get to their desired drop spots, because some of these teams over here are actually not lying. Total Gaming do prefer Central and Fire Brigade quite a lot. Same with REVENANT XSPARK. They love that southern island. They might occasionally switch it up by going towards Golf Course, but they do tend to stick towards the southern and the western parts of the map. We've also seen GOW absolutely dominate Quarry and Marble Works in the previous leg of the tournament as well, so we know they aren't lying either. But for all the other teams, the jury is still out.
Let's see if that's something that they can change and flip the script right now. Those are the preferred drop spot. We've seen a lot who were really putting in, like, true to their name and true to their declaration. So let's see if this is a declaration of war in Purgatory. But again, this is just game number 5. We still have one more that will be happening later on, and it haven't started, and I can already feel the heat coming from the battlefield, coming from the teams, and we might see other teams grab that booyah, especially as when we saw Esports grab 2 already, a lot will try to catch up. Whoever it is, wherever region it will be coming from, hopefully they get the best drop spot and then the best loots, and then they will just rock it with a lot of points. But before we go in points, let's go with predictions right now, because we've set our 3 predictions for this game.
Okay, I'm going to take a risk by picking DRS over here. And I actually just changed it 5 minutes ago. I had someone else picked for this one. I picked up DRS. I know it's a risky pick, but here's what I can see. They don't necessarily fight the best, but their rotations are amazing. You saw what they did in Bermuda. They went all the way around the circle, around the edge of the map, and they got a nice spot, which kept them alive up until like the top 4. They did something similar over here in NextEra as well. Their rotations are actually very nice, and in a map like Purgatory, that's pretty important. If they end up losing the fight, if they end up encountering some team in the middle of the rotation, that's a different story. Then they might die, but I think they have the best rotation so far that I've seen. NINZA I've picked up only because I've seen them perform really well on this map during the Fire MAX India Championship, and GOW is it's a rather safe pick for me. They dominate regardless of the map, so I'm just gonna be picking one of these teams all the time. But yes, the DRS pick is slightly risky from my end.
Well, I really love that. I mean, especially with DRS right here, because they're playing with survivability. You know how it is. That's one thing that you need to work on. With a tough lobby just like this, if you can find your rotation well and then deal with elimination later, then you might be the first or one of the first few who gets that champion rush condition activated. But that would depend if they can gather all the points probably in the rest of the games, or if not, the next time we see them. Because, again, warm-up might be a little bit too late if you started off like not in Purgatory and maybe later on, because the day is about to end. But speaking of days about to end, we're going to beginning of the end of the day when we jump into Purgatory. And I heard you say this, neither heaven and hell will save the team who will be sleeping in this game. So let's see who's going to burn this map.
Ladies and gentlemen, Purgatory is about to be on fire. as you said, the plane path is rather skewed. It's going to be quite difficult to get towards Crossroads, Moat House, and all these kind of places. But the Southern Island is going to be set asunder. Revenant, XSPARK, MAQNA Esports Club, they didn't lie. They are actually clashing in Central. Nightmare Esports and P Esports both in Fire Brigade. Wait, where's Total Gaming? They went towards Crossroad and said, okay, so they actually ended up lying over here. But GW has that entire island for themselves. Here we go, though. Nightmare and P Esports, they've faced each other before, and this is somewhat of a revenge battle.
Oh, see now, I mean, we have mini Uzis all around, only Lauho with the AUG, and all you have to do is regroup. There goes that plushie being pulled out, and also a heal being done by a Nightmare, and with that Dreki, they are being spotted. But this is a moment that PE Sports can pull them in onto the side. We've seen NINZA, one of them being eliminated by BIGETRON. But as we continue this fight, Amido, right now, well, out in open, shot into Nolan, but Time Turner pulled in the perfect timing. And the UAV already deployed. Nero just waiting for the rest of the teams before they go for pounds.
Oh, the moment the Time Turner drops, they shoot it back at him. Nolan once again forced to heal. Gopo trying to get the elevation from above, but he doesn't want to peek. He knows someone else can cover him. Amin comes in. He forces Nero to go around the other side, and they're juking them so well. Gopo OP gets taken down in the process. Nolan has a tiny amount of cover in the glue wall. He gets the res back up onto Nolan, and LBD covers them really well. What a way to recover by PE Sports.
Oh yeah, I mean, I really love how Nero pulls away in there, not being hit by that valiant dash, and also managed to go in for that shot. Amina right now might be losing all his acids as he is being shot, and also gets into position. The good thing that the angle is not really favoring PE Sports right now, but here comes LBT. Oh, not really phased to go for the chase, but Amino right now has a drop already. LBT for a drop as well. It takes a little bit time, but one shot with that Kingfisher might end him. But a glue wall, perfect timing, and he still managed to survive.
And the mystery continues. Can he get away from this spot? I don't think he's bent on running anymore. He's like, I'm just gonna chase them down. I can isolate these fights. Can they give me 1v1s? LBT simply doesn't want to fight him in a spot where he has a fair fight, and they eliminate Nightmare in the end.
Oh, PE Sports right now a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too cheeky, I would say, in that fight. But well, final moment, that was great. Really, at this point. Now, a little bit of sub, and we're seeing right now, so Adib has been pulled out for the moment, and Hassan will be playing. And let's see if this is something that can change the pace of the game, especially when they were the first to be eliminated. I guess it does, because they are still live. No engagement just yet, but speaking of engagement, we have a BIGETRON going against NINZA. And if I'm not mistaken, it has been going along, like, even from earlier, and it hasn't ended just yet.
Get the first shot. RNS making the risky cross. Somehow the Winchester doesn't take him down. Can he get the other shot? Kinotra also backs away. Meta Ninja disengaging really well, but this could be a trap. They know there's two players around the corner. BIGETRON surrounding them. 3v2. They both are in the crossroads, and Shanky actually gets it. Can he survive? No! One more shot takes him down, but Koja, he's late to the party. The backup has arrived. Ginotra can't make it count. Koja has to go all the way around this one. Meanwhile, on the other side, KAGENDRA get absolutely destroyed by MAQNA Esports Club. But this 1v1 finally continues. Ginotra breaks his ankles. He's trying to go for the vending machine right in his face. What? That's disrespectful. Oh my lord. Ginotra fails to punish him. And BIGETRON have all their players back up in the air. How is he still alive?
Talk about being ignored right there. He was ignored straight to the face, and he is still rocking it. But Ginotra did manage to go in for that finisher. But the deed has been done, and the rest of the teams has brought him back as well. BTR still in a roll, but Dix has been taken down. So it's REVENANT XSPARK would be the next contender against BIGETRON by Vitality.
That was spectacle for my eyes. That was a treat to watch. Black, on the other hand, he's not gonna have much of a treat, as PE Sports trying to cross the river in order to get to him. It's rather risky. Black is just revealing his position on purpose, hoping to draw them into a spot where Vulvin can cover him from afar. Drops down to the bottom. Did not know that LBD has already made the crossing, and that's LBD's third elimination.
Oh, well, LBT's third. Now let's see if they can bring back one. For Red Hawks, they have 4 elimination already outside of blue, and they are just playing with it. But it doesn't hurt that much. First to second, it's only chip damage, but they also have 1 trigger hit list against Koja from BIGETRON. And BIGETRON has had enough already of that great engagement, and they are pulling away because of the loss that they had earlier. Now, let's see if PE Sports can pull away from this fight against REVENANT XSPARK, but they do have the hit list on them, and they know exactly where they are located. And Sahil tries to protect himself with that glue wall, but LBT still on the chase.
Yeah, but unfortunately, REVENANT XSPARK are now just trapped in this constant cycle of just dying individually and getting revived back up again and again. I mean, now one more team is targeting them. It's Meta Ninja, who are also making things difficult. They take down Black. So REVENANT XSPARK, after reviving 2 players, have lost 2 players again, and the cycle just doesn't end.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's what you call insanity. You're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But I guess there's a little bit of result, but not the what that they were expecting. And as long as they can bring back their teammates, that's all good. Now, unless it is a final moment, a final circle, I would say, that is where it becomes difficult. So they need to be cautious, wait for, I would say, 10 to 15 minutes. There's still plenty of time to get all those elimination until they go all out in terms of engagement. Similar to what we are seeing in MAQNA Esports, because they understood that if they go a little bit too aggressive, they might be taken down. But now, slowly but surely getting all those points through elimination from far away, and they are top of this game.
Yeah, MAQNA Esports Cup finally having a great game. We know that they, of all teams, desperately needed a good start. DRS, on the other hand, caught in the open. You got Asalu getting shot down by both directions. Koja and Keong sandwiching him. And that's not the kind of party you would want to be in a sandwich. Very unappetizing.
Bro, you're getting me hungry right now. Like here, VTR. Well, let's see. I mean, we have LBT earlier that always reminds me of lettuce, bacon, and tomato. So now you are throwing sandwiches right here into the cast. So I'm really grabbing a bite later on.
I said it would be not appetizing. You're the one who's making it delicious.
I mean, the moment I hear food, it seems like that's what I'm thinking about. But anyways, let's see. I mean, even if they are losing out, hopefully they don't lose out appetite in their next fight, in their next battle.
Yeah,
but
their appetite for bloodlust.
Now that is questionable, bro.
Double kill.
Oh,
nice
Bahati M82B shot onto Nero. And this might be it. PE Sports might have a contender, but as you can see, they pull away. Don't want to show their location just yet. They still want that element of surprise, but what a shot.
Yep. Bahati really needed that mental reset after having some lackluster games. SATUL need to step it up. Total Gaming, on the other hand, they're getting challenged by Asalu alone. He wants to go for that vending machine and Delete fails to guard it. That gives the opening. DRS can get their members again. Total Gaming, on the other hand, can they get the revive onto their fallen players, because they have to abandon their comfort spot, make a long, treacherous journey to the next vending machine?
I mean, it's tough right now, especially out in the open. And I guess a split up might work for them unless they got a spot out by other teams. But yep, Shoto is on a mission to gather as much coins as possible. And almost, has one for one revive, but still needs a few more for the next. MAQNA Esports, after the engagement that they've dealt with in Central, now into golf course, far away from everyone else, and they are just waiting for any prey to run against them. But speaking of run, seems like PE Sports are on the run as REVENANT XSPARK right now chases them. Sahil almost shot down with LBT's M590, and here comes full carnage for the 4-man squad, and Nero has only yet to witness that happen.
KD God doesn't let him get away. PE Esports dwindling in numbers. They can obviously get their players back up, but PE Esports have a rather split approach now. Only one of their players is still on the outskirts of this city. The remaining players, not anywhere close by. So maybe it's this split approach that PE Sports are taking that will help them diversify their risks and maybe pick up more fights and get more information. I mean, as long as they don't get all eliminated before the fourth circle, I think PE Sports still has a very good chance of making a comeback in this game. And they've got 7 eliminations to their name, so I think they're sitting fine and dandy.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess Raymil heard you. And the
well,
Filipino
took it personally.
sniper. Filipino sniper really has. I mean, probably it's because of the pressure that PE Sports has brought in earlier, and that everyone is cautious on where PE Sports is. And you know how it is. If you can bring that pressure, even if you don't have that much elimination, final moment, everyone just wants to grab that booyah, all those points in placement. And a lot of teams as trying to isolate them. But BTR, after dealing with PE Sports earlier, now going against GOW, they do have a hunger onto them. But NINZA meeting up with MAQNA Esports, Ginotra, and Shanky down, the whole squad out from this game.
Wow, what just happened? There was a hot 10 seconds. We got 2 teams eliminated in just 10 seconds. NINZA bite the dust. We didn't even get to see what happened to GOW. Our producers deemed it to be too violent of a fight to be shown publicly on YouTube, on a public platform. But here we have NINZA continuing their onslaught as REVENANT XSPARK drop in from the skies. And here goes the full stretch. You getting shot by the team afar as well. Even SATL Elite are trying to take a piece of the spy. But Getbu dips back in cover, tries to get inside this cocoon of glue on Sahil. He doesn't have the angles on him, but Black gets sniped off by Raymil, and he's got many more angles. It's just down to Sahil and KD God, and they're so far away from each other they cannot provide backup. REVENANT XSPARK with very little chances of reviving their teammates. At least now have repelled away the members of MAQNA Esports Club, but SATL Elite have not let them go anywhere. Wait, SATL Elite have their hands full. They're trying to take down PE Esports as well. And PE Esports are getting shot by multiple teams, not just SATL Elite. Oh my god, they just got saved by the bell. But they still need to make it inside the zone. SATL want to camp them out.
Well, let's see though. Nades from Arman. It's a good thing KD God hopped onto the vehicle, pulling away just in time. But Sahil wasn't able to get that ticket. Now, Hassan with the Thompson in hand. Sahil still healing up as he goes in for the chase. But 3, make that 4 player is already on him. And he might be going down. A little bit of ice grenade action to push them far away. And what a great move coming from Sahil. Just to make sure he is safe. The rest of the teams might be able to do it. And on the other side, Thackeray was able to take down Raymil, the final player from MAQNA Esports. Now, we are left with 6.
Yeah, REVENANT XSPARK rushing over there basically ruined the game for both them and MAQNA Esports Club. Meanwhile, SATL Elite, they didn't wander too far away from their original spot, so they can still control this bridge. And now they've got decent enough angles onto Total Gaming. REVENANT XSPARK though gets sniped off by Red Hawk, so that's the end of them. But SATL, they finally send a couple of their players ahead. 2 players rushing in, meanwhile 2 players hold behind. Make it 3 as SATL close in the distance against Red Hawks. But there's BIGETRON on the other side, Neptune. This is gonna be a cluster fight.
Oh no, what? I don't know what Z-Bank was planning in there. Launchpad just overshoots this battlefield, but here comes Red Hawks, still pulling away from that engagement. Kyong trying to survive, and Blade is first one to go down. M590 overall, sweeping all throughout, and Nix right now for the cleanup. Kutush! Final player, and he will be taken down. Now BTR still have a 3-man strong. Potty, the only one up front side of SAUL, and they will be eliminated. 3 teams remain, and DRS planning to get that booyah that was denied of them from earlier's game.
They did not expect that DRS would come in from behind them. That's why SATL have been eliminated. But now, this extends a lifeline onto BIGETRON. They've managed to reset 3 of their players and get them back on full health. The battle for the top of this hill is now fully underway. Total Gaming, survived by only Mafia, have to just pray that he can hide and bide his time. BIGETRON used the mountain truck for cover, but they discover Mafia! Oh no, and now Mafia's getting shot at by both the teams. This is so unfortunate. He just has to pray that his UAV doesn't get broken down. It gets broken down, and StroX lands the final blow. 3 versus 4. DRS have the high ground.
Now, Stroix in better angle to shoot him down. It's just a distraction from above. Now, BTR, well, throws after throws, not so much of a connection happening. That Nero pushes Koja to pull up that time turner. Now, Dix right now almost being taken down. One great hit, one nade, and he will be out. Medkit being used already, recovered just in time, and Koja M79, Pratik almost taken down.
Whoa.
Dix turns around and shoot him down. It is now a 2v2, but the pickup can be done by BTR. Quick reversal by BIGETRON, by Vitality. They're not losing out on the Vitality to fight back, but the real soldiers as they go in for the rush. Takuri up close and personal with an AC-80, and he's not going down just yet, but unfortunately a little bit too close in the fire.
1v2, Strikes has no chance of reviving, but at least they finished off the last member of BTR, so now it's a 1v2 for good. Deeks not on full HP yet. Strikes gets the shot onto him, the half HP player down, and he pulled off the 1v2 clutch! Numbers or no numbers, the real soldiers can hold their ground on their own.
BTR almost clutching it on the 3v4, but the turnaround coming from Stroix really is the X factor for DRS Gaming in Nepal on the rise in that game, and seems like they will be taking heaven rather than hell.
Whew. What a maneuver by DRS. I want to see that again. I want to see that clutch one more time. Roll it back, producers. Let's take a look at this, because BTR, while they did not have the numbers initially, they managed to turn the tides by making sure that they revive each other really well. Like, Koja got back up on his knees. Deeks did a really good job of absorbing all that aggro from Takuri. But Stroix, when the push comes to shove, take a look at that. He knew that Deeks was low on HP. His teammates made that call. Gets the instant shot, and then it's a 1v1. He just needs 2 more bullets to land properly, and he's gonna have the booyah to himself.
I had a lot of questions in there with Stroix with that VSK up close and personal, but I guess that question is answered. You don't need to switch. If you can hit those shots, make that shot, even with the M590, I mean, he is still on point, and both of them was jumping and turning and shooting, and it was Stroix who made that mark in that game. What an amazing play coming from DRS Gaming. And I guess we called it. They are here for payback because they were denied earlier. Now they got that booyah.
Yeah, I mean, DRS have been having such good games. They've been consistently getting into the top 4. And on several occasions, they've also managed to almost clutch out the booyah, but they always just stumble a step or two away from it. No longer. They finally get the booyah, but even after that, they don't have the top spot because BIGETRON by Vitality is just consistent as ever. They continue farming more points than the teams that always end up getting the booyah.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it started off earlier with one of the teams, I think that was with KAGENDRA, wherein they got 30 points and then KAGENDRA got 27. Now, despite of DRS getting that booyah, it's still BIGETRON by Vitality getting as much point as needed to overtake them. But MAQNA Esports Club really doing well with 16 elimination, and we saw them drop in Central. They just waited for perfect opportunities, but unfortunately they was caught off guard by 2 teams, and they were split up, eliminated, like 3 players were eliminated, and Raymil was the only survivor. Didn't see where he go, but the last time we saw that squad was being taken out. But still, they done the deed. They got 20 points. The only question is this enough to move them high in the leaderboard to sit comfortably and probably not do much until next game?
Yeah, I hope that's enough to let them move up. 20 points. Just enough. SHUL and REVENANT XSPARK also needed to move up, but they only managed to get 13 and 12 points respectively. So not that great, but at least it's a start. Let's take a look at the MVP of the match, ladies and gentlemen. It was obviously Stroix. That BSK helps him pull out that clutch. And even though he's got the Nero, I think he already had used it, so he probably didn't have it in the actual clutch. I don't think the ability was available. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was on cooldown or something. So he only had his glue walls and his guns, and obviously his skill to make it work.
Yeah, I think we've seen Nero, We've seen ThrowX pull out at Nero. It was overshot, and then it landed when BTR is already rushing towards him, because I saw a little bit of chip damage being dealt by Nero on that final moment. But it wasn't cooldown on that 1v1, wherein it could have been used quite well. But there's no need. I mean, if you have that shot, like ThrowX in there, like, it doesn't matter. He does have that Moko already, so he can spot where even the opponents on the other side will be going before that 1v1. But Time Turner, A124, that Oscar, I guess that really worked on a close on a CQC. And I'm really loving that both of these players from DRS, as well as from the other teams that we are seeing in getting the Booyah, are playing with this meta quite well, wherein they are just taking advantage of all those trends.
Yeah, and while some of these teams have adopted really well to the meta, some of these teams are trying to enforce the old meta, stick to their comfort characters, and you can see how it's turning out for them. It's not exactly great. But once again, we see a game where the numbers are slightly skewed in favor of the sniper. Once again, it's Esalu, Takuri, and Pratik all somewhere between the 1000 to the 1500 damage range. And then you have StroX just skyrocketing above everybody else with 3562, 7 eliminations to his name. And if you got this much damage, it also means that you probably farmed it in the fifth circle, not just in that final fight.
Yeah, well, let's see though. I mean, that's one thing that we see from other teams, especially when a lot of engagement is happening. You get as much elimination because of the chaos, and you're not putting up that much of damage. So, and we've seen that from PE Sports. They grab the Booyah, not really putting up that much of a fight. It's just the numbers that they want, as well as that Booyah, that placement point. So it's great if you can time it well. Some tried to do it, but unfortunately they failed to, especially if there's still a lot of teams into the mix. A third party is bound to happen, and you, like, when you start shooting, you will be the ones in crosshair of another. So let's see if that's something they can do right now. Again, I'm really loving that final moment in Purgatory. Really loving where in their DRS managed to get for a payback after being denied in the previous map of Nexera, and now the teams will be heading into the Alpine. So in a bit, we're going to see where the teams are planning to drop, and I guess I'm going to put a little bit of belief in this drop spot right here, Chris. It seems like some are being true to their name.
Yeah, some of them are being true to their name, but I only mentioned it in Purgatory because I've seen some of their tendencies. And again, I was wrong about Total Gaming. Usually they stick to the Southern Island, but they did not stick to it in that game. So, hey man, even these teams can be dishonest sometimes. Even the teams with the best possible code of honor can sometimes deviate away from it. So what do you think of this particular diagram? Do you think these teams will actually stick to it? Total Gaming love Militia, but do they love it enough?
Well, if they've seen this and it's not so much of contention, I guess Militia can be taken, and it's a good spot as well for that game, because Total Gaming, we've seen them, they have like great elevation as well as a clear view. They might be able to snipe out a lot of teams, but that would depend on where the next phase or each phase of the circle will be going. Now, we're seeing Railroad being taken by PE Sports, KAGENDRA, as well as DRS. So there's plenty of space, though, in Fusion and Blueville. And if they have whiffed that is clear, they might be dropping in on that spot, if probably dropping in a little bit early, waiting for some free space, because this is the last game and you don't want to risk it, especially for those who are not hanging it quite well. I'm talking about 3 teams. We have Nightmare, REVENANT, XSPARK, as well as S8UL. We're in they're the bottom of the day standings right now, and we need to get all those eliminations.
I'm glad that you mentioned these 3 teams who are in desperate need of points, because we saw how REVENANT XSPARK landed on top of that hill and basically kind of ruined the game for themselves as well as MAQNA Esports Club. I hope that doesn't happen once again. As for SHUL Elite and Nightmare Esports, I can't really say much, but I do want to say that these particular teams that I've picked up for now, PE Sports, GOW, as well as KAGENDRA, I think they're going to have a jolly good time here in Alpine.
Well, let's see. I did mention Meta Ninjas, from the earlier because the Booyah that they have, but now well, let's see if this is something that they can really live up to. BIGETRON, I think the strength is still there. No Booyah, no problem overall for this day. They have breached that 100-point mark already. And, well, Total Gaming, I've seen the potential of their gameplay. It's just a survivability as well as, like, the timing of their approach. The ideation was just, like, on point. It's just a timing that they need to work on. So I guess this might be it. This might be the map wherein they might be getting most of those points. So that's just our hopes, and hopefully some of the teams in there, especially the 3 that I mentioned earlier that needs the points, will be flipping the script and catching up on those numbers.
I actually like your prediction of Total Gaming over here. I kind of feel like whenever Total Gaming gets to do their bidding, they will be able to manipulate the battlefield in any way that they want. Like, even in the previous game, Total Gaming, on paper, had a very good spot. And when they decided to push in on the high ground towards BTR, they would have had the chance to win if DRS did not backstab them. And I think that was one place where DRS also fixed their mistake. I think in Nextera, DRS just kind of let the zone take over. They didn't make any active decisions themselves. They didn't play proactively enough, so they were just waiting on BTR and Esports to just kind of fight each other, and DRS was hoping they would be able to go in from the side. And because they did not actively take any decisions, they lost out on that Booyah in Nextera. But then in Purgatory, they were the ones who took initiative. They were the ones who went in and they were like, okay, let's backstab these people, let's get into positions, and that's why they got the Booyah. So if they're proactive enough again, then not just Total Gaming, but even DRS have a very good chance of repeating their success once more.
Yeah, let's see now. Let's see. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers right now coming from both the teams, like DRS and Total Gaming, and it was just so delayed for DRS. Not so much of points from Kalahari and Solara, but they are slowly building up. For IQOO Total Gaming, we've seen a little bit of consistency. I mean, second place for 2 games, if not top 3. For at least 2 games, and then very close to the top as well. So let's see if this is where they will be getting that Booyah. But because this is the last match, I'm assuming that everyone will be going all out. This is Alpine right now. No chilling like a villain in this map. And let's see who's going to reign.
Man, some of these teams have been holding in their demons. They want to unleash them on the final map of day 1. I have very high expectations from BIGETRON in this game because so far you can see that they do not care about getting a Booyah. I don't know what their plan is for the grand finals when they eventually have to use the champion rush condition, but for now they are just making a mad dash to the top, and they want to build up as much of a buffer as possible by getting as many points. Looks like they're going to have a slow start because nobody's near them in Garrison. I don't expect them to go towards Red Hawks to go out and then fight, but there's plenty of fights brewing near base camp and the southernmost spot. You see GOW already taking on MAQNA, and MAQNA, they cannot expect the flank from death. He goes around the other side, and within a matter of seconds, MAQNA are out.
I mean, just reaching that first minute mark, and that minute like started off from that drop. And you did mention a matter of seconds that Nero was so deadly in that fight. Everyone was stuck in the middle and chipping all those damage. Even with the mini Uzi, you can do so much. But GOW's job is not done just yet. We have IQOO or Total Gaming already in the picture, and we're seeing a few more of a glimpses from KAGENDRA as well. Now, Death right now healing up. Might be able to see that last player of KAGENDRA, which is dead, pulls at a cryo mine, sees him, and now everyone's for the chase, especially with the Moko tagging him in. But P90 in hand, valiant dash from Demon, and Mini Uzi, no problem. One player from KAGENDRA goes down.
No problem for now, but there is problem brewing on the other side of this house. You got Total Gaming looking to fourth party in this situation. So far, it's only 2 members, just Shoto and Mafia. Ayush and Delete not exactly here yet, but they will be here in a matter of seconds if this fight goes on for too long. No, Demon gets the jump on Mafia, even though he had the high ground, and that puts Shoto in a very uncomfortable spot. He's getting sprayed down from every side, and Total Gaming, their efforts to third party in on this have been put to rest. GOW, they are like the shoreline, and every other team are like waves. They just crash into them, and the shore doesn't care. They stand strong.
I mean, props to like IQOO Gaming. Great position in there with that high ground advantage. It's just a weaponry that they don't have. Now, Red Hawks Nejad, God Nade onto the players of Nightmare, but seems like the pickup has been done up close and personal with Red Hawks being eliminated with an AC-80 from Gopu OP, and the pickup with a 4-man squad strong with 4 elimination has been done. DRS though, they're losing out on some gunfight, and the clutch kick Strox tops up his health. Let's see if they can recover.
SHUL, though, might just bite off a little more than they can chew because they're trying to fight DRS as well as MAQNA Esports Club at the same time. And Strox, we've seen him pull off miracles before. If he uses the timing well, he might just create an opportunity for NEMS to strike. But Strox has been destroyed, and NEMS just hiding in the grass.
What?
Lying down on the floor, hoping that nobody sees him. I am a rock.
No one sees him.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Hassan already in the
think
chase.
he got away.
Information relayed. This is a chase. He has been spotted. AC-80 NEMS, but that dip onto the ridge. But there's no way out. MAQNA Esports, though this is not the final player, but I'm seeing so much potential that they could have put in so much of a fight right here, but there's not so much they can do. I mean, everyone would be calling out your NEMS at this point. And what's with that? What's with that cryo mine? Way off. way off.
They actually get away with this. No, Pahadi. Huh? Pahadi, turn around. Bro! He finally sees him. I thought he didn't see them for a second over there. But hey, it's fine. I mean, MAQNA Esports Club, they knew that NEMS is gonna die over here. They didn't even bother trying to save him. They're like, okay, if you get spotted, just make sure if you get a knock, convert that knock, get that 1 point before you finally die. So this was a sinking ship. They didn't want to, get tied up in it. But yeah, it would have been rather hilarious if Pahadi just walked past him.
Yeah, I mean, if Pahadi was taken down, he does have a Mag 7, but triggered the spoon in the guy from NEMS. It's just like, I don't know if he was surprised as well. He was not expecting Pahadi to just run past him, but that shot with the VSK up close, that was just something else. And we want to see that in a 1v1 situation, but let's see though. Seems like there's no 1v1 at this point. Nightmare right now getting into the dream of PE Sports being eliminated. And let's see if they can make it work. Farhan being taken down with M79 as quickly as that. PE Sports takes out the Nightmare. Hitman, the only one remaining. And I guess he has been spotted. LBT already in the chase. Launchpad, and he pulls away, but not too far though.
Just on the other side of the street, and he's still getting shot. They see him through the window. And Hitman is down as well.
Oh, wait.
SHUL, what happened to them? These guys got completely wiped out.
I mean, they were full squad. They were chasing one player of MAQNA Esports. Or, no, it was Total Gaming. That got me confused. Now, I just didn't see where and who's taking them out, but 2 teams eliminated in here. It's 3 teams, rather. We have Red Hawks and Meta Ninjas as well as SAUL. Now here comes REVENANT XSPARK being taken down. Deadpool not getting that shot. And a quick revive as well as a pick up onto REVENANT XSPARK. 4 elimination already. And MAQNA Esports now still back in a 4-man strong squad.
I'm actually surprised that SHUL got wiped out this early. I mean, I didn't even realize some team was next to them. They've had all 4 of their players up, and then this is the second time they've been wiped out off screen. Something just happens to that team when the camera isn't on them. But something terrible is about to happen to Farhan because he had no idea that he was getting surrounded. He heard the footsteps a little too late, but then again, he probably should have expected that vending machine is going to be an area where traps have been set up. So he walks into that trap, and his opponents are like, thank you so much for that free point.
Now let's see though. Speaking of trap, a trap might be triggered right here. There goes the Cryo Mind. Tags everyone from BIGETRON. Koja right now a little bit off in terms of position, in terms of grouping. It's a good thing that they managed to push PE Sports out. LBT on the ground. Valiant dash.
Whoa!
Follow through. Only Wahoo
Sheesh.
remains. And he just flies through away from this battle. But I guess it's not yet over. BIGETRON by Vitality, the moment that they get a whiff of blood, they are in it to end it.
That was crazy. You can't toy around with Esports like that. I mean, that team is also really strong, and Lau has been spotted. I don't think he makes it across. Ooh. No, he doesn't. Kojak gets the final say, and that's the end of PE Sports. One of the teams I expected to do well in this game has been taken off already.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, there's an element of surprise in some teams who really has start targeting on those who are performing, and one of those is BIGETRON, dubbed as a Falcon Hunters, and you know how it is. In that moment where Falcons was on the rise, they were the ones who's hunting the top dogs, or I would say the top birds. And in that moment, like, it seems like Falcons was just nerfed. Now BIGETRON is eyeing on those who are making it work in this competition, just eliminating, and not only the players themselves, but the spirits. And that's what BIGETRON is doing best. Hopefully it gets carried over into the grand finals, because we want to see that rise happen, not just in knockout stages, in group stages, but also in the grand finals, just like on the 14th.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you mentioned Falcons, because they too are a force to be reckoned with. Just because they're not playing today doesn't mean that you can discount them as a threat. And that's also why BIGETRON are trying to farm up as many points as possible today itself, because they know that this lobby isn't going to get any easier. If they get the chance for it, you dominate all day today. And eventually, when your destined rivals Falcons show up, this will be nice. It would be nice to have the buffer that they built up today. But now we are approaching a little bit of a lull in the action. My goodness, Nightmare just do not catch a break. Nightmare just keep getting shot by every single team. Like, so far I've seen Total Gaming as well as BIGETRON, as well as GW, and now KAGENDRA shooting at them. But for now, Total Gaming going in for the full commitment against BTR. BTR have the high ground. IQOO use up their Steffi. The Graffiti's blessing will keep them safe for the nades, at least for the time being. But Delete is trying to get an angle. He tries to take the shot against Koja, but he has no idea that Deeks is right behind him. Uses the Charge Buster to pump him down. And now Kyong has an angle onto Shoto. They need to regroup together.
Great isolation being done by BIGETRON right now. I mean, that Stefan did save them for a moment, but not for long, as Koja pulls that M79. Ayush with only a few HP, and Dix with a backstab with a fly away, but the angle is off. Everyone has him in the shots, but still managed to do so. Monster Truck being used by BTR. Kyong to go in for a chase, and there's no way out, but it is a shot from far away. C-Bank for that shot with an AWM that ends their roll. 16 remain in this fight, and GLW being eliminated as well. A lot of turnaround has been happening. Even strong teams like GLW being eliminated, not even in top 5.
Who even took them down? There's so many top teams over here who are just succumbing off camera, and just, it makes me very, very angry about what is happening. Like, hey, these are some top teams. You can't just die off without even knowing how. Like, you need to tell us. If a team as big as them is dying, we need to know how. Who shot them down?
They need our permission before they...
Yeah. Oh my god. So far, as I can see, MAQNA Esports Club need the permission of KAGENDRA to leave this house, because inside they are just getting pummeled. The nades, the AMLs, everything is just being thrown in except the kitchen sink to take the MAQNA Esports Club out of this game. And KAGENDRA bombard them to the next dimension.
Well, KAGENDRA right now, like, living to the name of Indonesia, because BTR just like decided to show up. And KAGENDRA is being left behind. Yes, in the play-ins, they did show up, but right now it seems like they were nerfed. But 11 elimination already, still a full squad, great position in Militia, and guess who's stepping into the next phase? It is BTR as well, but in the horizon, they have a whiff of a nightmare. And let's see if they can scan them or probably shoot them down. But REVENANT XSPARK also going in for the flank. Now, there's only a few combos they can take at this point, and everyone's already in position. So it's just elimination spree that might be happening or coming from KAGENDRA as well as BTR. Let's include REVENANT XSPARK as well.
Yeah, and because these two teams have quite a lot of cover right now, everybody's going to be vying for that spot. Everybody's going to be keeping an eye on them. But what about the other teams who don't have that much cover to work with?
Whoop.
Speaking of Nightmare, Farhan does get the shot onto KD God, but that is not the biggest problem for him right now. Even KAGENDRA are just around the corner, so they can't expose themselves on the other side of that rock. They have to focus fully on REVENANT XSPARK using only the cover of their glue walls. They can't go around for perma cover.
Only Wolverine remains right now, trying to survive. Glue walls after glue walls with the boulder. Here comes a little bit of glue wall melter, but doesn't face a Nightmare that much. Hitman!
Whoa!
Has been shot with a Shogun, a little bit too far from the rest of the teams. Now, let's see on how they can defend themselves. Here comes the lightning zone, and the final shot coming from Farhan to eliminate REVENANT XSPARK. 14 remain right now, and everyone except for Nightmare has a full squad. Now, they will need to slow it down a little bit. How can you do it if Nepal's already on your toes, spots you in the corner, and not letting you move?
Yeah, at least Nightmare had like a 3-1 split, but that one guy, Hitman, has been completely destroyed. So now they just have to duck in behind this cover. Meanwhile, DRS want the bigger piece of the pie. They are going in for the full onto KAGENDRA, but KAGENDRA don't want to fight this at all. They abandon this spot, they abandon this house, and go in for the next one on the higher ground.
Let's see now. I mean, great decision making coming from KAGENDRA, because they've seen and felt that there's a lot that will be chasing that next part of the circle. But here comes Nightmare right now, receiving a lot of damage from BTR. Koja with that God Nade, and Nightmare would be sleeping at this point. 4v4 situation. Now, KAGENDRA, though, is a little bit safer from the clutches of BIGETRON, and they have pushed DRS right now into the fray. Now, good shot can bring them onto that middle part, probably eliminate them, but it is XSPARK who made that first move against KAGENDRA, and their knockdown would be it! But Riptide Rhythm as well as a follow-up. BTR stepping into the wrong house, reeling the wrath of KAGENDRA, and only Kyung remains. Here comes BTR falling down, and the Garudas right now flying high.
Yeah, and the Garudas, they can't be too serious over here because DRS are here to hunt them down and clip their wings. It's just Deeks left. He manages to get Kyung back up. Can XSPARK make it? No, he can't. Asalu finds him. These two players are getting pushed from the high ground. Stroex once again with a double makes his game count. And this guy just cannot be stopped. DRS with the back-to-back booyahs.
Oh, definitely on a back-to-back booyahs. Overall, two teams has managed to grab 2 booyahs in one day. First off was Esports, now DRS, and they're proving that they are the real soldiers, especially in how they survived that final battle. They were sandwiched, and if it wasn't for that shot by XSPARK on KAGENDRA, like, the focus would be on DRS, but they took that advantage to a perfect timing, and they just wreaked havoc on that final moment. This is what I'm talking about. BTR just rushed in a little bit too carelessly, and like, they are just in the crosshairs of both KAGENDRA as well as DRS.
Exactly. I mean, DRS had a nice spot in the zone. They had permanent cover, unlike BTR and DRS. Unlike BTR and KAGENDRA. If they wanted, they could have stayed in there. But DRS also recognized that the final fight happening is a good thing for them. They can capitalize on the momentum because they don't want to give BTR the time to reset. And they know that BTR generally likes playing split. As long as they find XSPARK, who's hiding on the other side of this circle, they should be good to focus all their attention on the remaining 3 members of BTR. They identify the opportunity really well and just clinch it with both their hands. DRS. 2 booyahs on the trot. Amazing performance from this Nepali team.
Now, is this a chance wherein DRS can take that spot, the #1 spot away from BTR? But let's see though. I mean, again, BTR from the past 4 games, no Booyah, no problem. They're reeling in a lot of points. But DRS right now getting that back-to-back Booyah. They're on their way, I would say, to understanding that champion rush condition and also making that work if in case they step into it. But to the game standings, once again, denied by the Indonesians. BIGETRON by Vitality into number of total points. It is 24 for the #1 spot for BTR. DRS left with or left behind with like less than 3 points, but still grabbing that second Booyah. KAGENDRA though 20 points, and REVENANT SPARK getting 16 points. MAQNA Esports still doing quite well, but has been eliminated a little bit too early.
Yeah, MAQNA Esports game did get eliminated rather early, but at least this game is better than the ones they've had before. GOW getting eliminated very early on is something I did not expect, and that too on with such quick precision. They didn't even get much chance to send their players to get the revive. I can say the same for SHUL Elite. They were wiped out in a matter of seconds, that too off camera. So I am still puzzled as to how that happened. At least we got to see how PE Sports got finished off, but that was completely off camera. BIGETRON, though.
I'm quite surprised as well that happened. And I guess I was right. It was SHUL Elite who we saw was a full squad going in for chase, and then the next time we know, they were eliminated. But today's standings right now, 132 points coming from the pure aggression from the Indonesians. BIGETRON by Vitality, followed by PE Sports with a double Booyah. KAGENDRA, another team coming from Indonesia with 81 points. But DRS, I mean, I'm loving Nepal right now. 2 Booyahs, they know how to play around. You did mention of what tactics they're doing right here, but it seems like at this point, there's a little bit more of aggression. And I'm loving this evolution from DRS Gaming.
Yeah, DRS Gaming have amped up the kill switch. They have activated it, and you can see a lot more aggression from them. They started to be a lot more proactive after Nextera, where they've had to finish like, what, second or third maybe? And after that, they just got 2 Booyahs on the drop. Sports and DRS have like 2 Booyahs each. They don't come like the elimination numbers are nearly doubled.
Yeah, it's really tough, especially on how like if you show that prestige in getting elimination with getting all those damage, getting all those points in the early parts, it's just showing up. You don't want to drop against BIGETRON by Vitality, and I guess that is one thing that BTR has done so much, not only in this tournament, not only in those first 6 maps, but even in the previous tournament that they were part of. So hopefully no one will be phased on the how BTR is bullying everyone. But let's take a look on the game MVP. It is Froex once again. This time, surprisingly, pulls out a Kenta that we rarely see in Battle Royale.
Yeah, we don't definitely see a lot of Kenta. I mean, even today, the few uses of Kenta that we witnessed, it wasn't the primary ability, they didn't choose that character on purpose as their primary ability. They probably just picked it up as a secondary one. So with Stroix picking up Kenta as his primary ability, even though he had Nero last time, that's a massive shift. But he still sticks to his good old roots of Maro and Moko. He still has his roots in the sniper skill tree. And even though he has only 3 eliminations, that 2000 damage is going to come in clutch to make sure that DRS have all the real estate they need as they keep just hammering down their opponents from a distance.
Yeah, let's see though. I mean, it's quite questionable with the Swordsman's Wrath has been pulled out in here. Yeah, though, yes, you can go in head on. 1v1, it would work. Probably that's one reason why Stroex pulls that out, because he doesn't want to potentially lose a 1v1 if it happens again. So probably that's a mindset on how it worked. But for the rest, like A124 from Takuri, we have a Pratik with an Oscar Valiant Dash, we have the Time Turner from Ace Alu, and it seems like there's a combination of a defense plus aggression for this mix. So it's not all aggression, not all offensive. And you did mention about the rotation, how safe they are, and slowly, again, the changes has been put out by DRS Gaming.
DRS, really good comeback from them, especially in the last 2 games. These numbers might be somewhat lackluster. We've seen bigger games from other teams, but hey, as long as you can get the booyah, even if you have 1 elimination or 2-3 eliminations per player, it's completely fine. If you add it all up, it's still in like single digits. So this is gonna be a game where they get less than 20 points in one single game, but it's still respectable because getting 2 booyahs back to back is really difficult. So definitely DRS have figured out something about this lobby which the other teams haven't.
Yeah, I mean, and that's hopefully that doesn't put a target on their back right now, especially from BTR, because like come grand finals, I'm pretty sure they will do their best to be on to the grand finals. DRS has done so much in 1 day already, but if you've done so much in survivability, rotation is not that dynamic. I would say it's pretty much the same overall. Yes, you are surviving, but a lot of teams might be chasing you down. You don't want that threat of third party being done quite well by DRS happening in the final circles most of the time. So that's a team that you would need to take down, and hopefully they have another setup plan for DRS Gaming. But I would say back-to-back booyah is really lovely coming from the team.
Yeah, that indeed is incredible. Like back-to-back booyahs by DRS is something that is very difficult to pull off, but I love the point that you made right now because people will hunt you down when the grand finals are around the time, right? At that point, I would love to see what kind of switches do BIGETRON deploy, because so far they've been farming all these points way faster than anyone else. Like if they are at 132 and the closest to them is somewhere at around 80, that's a massive 50-point buffer. But those 50 points are not going to do much if somebody clinches the booyah away from you. I'm very impressed that BIGETRON managed to rack up that ridiculous score without any booyahs, but I'm sure they will have to switch something or the other up when the grand finals are around.
Yeah, well, let's see though, because so far, one possible reason why BTR is doing that much is because they are not part of the next group. So, like, Group C will be sitting it out. Tomorrow, it would be Group A and B. And we are going to see some of the teams that you would love to see in Battlefield right now, because so far, Group A would need to make that show. We have NG Pros, we have GB Esports, Godlike will be part of the mix. We have as well RGE Reckoning, we have Avida, as well as Team Falcons. And everyone wants to see that and probably complete the story in their mind, if in case they want to study their opponents. But I guess that's it, Crips. That is the final game of today. Really a pleasure working with you.
Yes, it was indeed a pleasure working with you as well, Neptune. It was a pleasure casting the games for you guys, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope that you all tune in tomorrow as well. Keep in mind that we are going to be having the matches for Groups A and B tomorrow, so you guys tune in at the same time and the same place. Till then, have a lovely evening, and we will see you later.